What's up, Overwatchers, and welcome to the Cal League Open on our Friday night special. I'm Matrim. I'm going to be doing the opening and covering the analyst desk with my buddy over here, Porosaurus.
How's it going, everybody? Good to see you here on a Friday night.
For everybody new to our event, this is an amateur team-based event where we have full teams of 6 that have gotten together and put together teams and are now competing for our prize pool that we have. As of right now, we actually have a Matcherino prize pool that's sitting at about $148. So if you guys are wanting to contribute into that, make sure you do !Matcherino. Now, one other cool thing that we want to talk about that hasn't happened before is we are actually working with Matcherino to give you guys special rewards. So the more Cal League events that you guys watch, you get 1 point for every minute that you're watching a Cal League event, and then you get 5 times the points whenever you donate. And you're going to accumulate these points as you go along, and as we get more and more money put into the pot, it's going to unlock other rewards that you can use your points to spend to try to get rewards. As of right now, we are at bracket 3, I believe.
Yep, bracket 3. So unlock reward for Minutemen team names. So whoever, you could place bids on using your points. Whoever places their bids wins their bids. They get the opportunity to name the Minutemen teams, and you will have some trouble coming up with better names than the names we were getting yesterday. So that's a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the Minutemen teams are always a phenomenally interesting meme-based fest of just names. Like what we had. Team 4, which was not Team 3, and Harambe's Daycare was pretty strong.
There was Harambe's Daycare, and Tracer's Assets, I believe, was one. So, you know, you feel free to use your imagination for some of these.
You guys are racking up these points. Just keep on donating Matcherino, and whenever it comes up time for it, just try to get in some bets in, and you see what you can come up with. One cool thing that we do have going on tonight is we have some of our Minutemen people. You guys that don't know and don't watch our Minutemen event, it is a solo queue-esque style tournament where you can sign up, and it's free to enter, and we put you into a team with randomly selected other players that have signed up. It's a really good way to get your feet wet and start moving into the esports area, and some of our players from that have actually made a team tonight, and a lot of our players from Minutemen end up becoming in teams. So we have a lot of faces you guys would recognize over the past couple of weeks from Minutemen that are going to be showing up in tonight's event, which I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah, and that's actually going to be our first game that we're going to be getting into here pretty soon. Is this Minutemen conglomeration super team consisting of guys you might remember from last night, such as Rogue and Kanscout. So we're going to see how well these guys handle these other teams that have been playing together for a while.
Yeah, we have some of our returning people that we have encountered a couple of times. Let's see, we've got Something Original, which regular watchers will recognize. Elevate's going to be inside of this. Harambe is Bay, I believe we've seen a couple of times. Also, they have some of our Minutemen players that we've come across before. Actually, I think they were part of the Harambe's Daycare, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Harambe is a big player right now. If you're buying stock in memes, I would put everything into Harambe right now and sell high. But I don't know if that's going to last forever. So you don't want to enter a meme deficit. Good thing.
So one other thing I do want to mention, since we're going through all of our Matcherino and all that other good stuff, as everybody knows, we're a Discord community, so naturally feel free to join the Discord community. But in addition to that, right now we're looking for more people to help out on Cal staff. So if you're really interested in working in esports and you want to see what's going on and what it's like, we have an application section under the hashtag Cal News area. So come in, we're really looking for refs, social media people, video editors. If you have some type of skills you think that would be prudent, come in, drop us a line. Feel free to reach out to any staff members. We would appreciate any and all applications. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Absolutely. So, getting into the games tonight, Matt, What do you think we're going to be seeing? Is it going to be a continuation of the Reinhardt, Zenyatta, McCree, Lucio, plus 2 others meta that we've been seeing, or do you think we might see some new stuff?
I mean, I think it's going to come down to map selection on a regular basis, but it's going to be, I mean, we all pretty much know it's going to be Reinhardt, it's going to be D.VA, it's going to be McCree, it's going to be probably some Genji tossed in there, a little bit of Reaper here and there for flavor, depending on how people are feeling. and then Lucio with Zenyatta. I would love to see perhaps a Mercy and a Pharah combo. I know they're super weak and out of meta right now, but they do still have a lot of strength on King's Row. I know your personal favorite Junkrat. I know you want to see him, and if we see some Dorado, 0.1, he's the man for 0.1 Dorado.
Oh, absolutely. While I would like to see the Pharah and Mercy, and I agree with you that it can be strong. It's just so hard right now with that Zenyatta meta. He gets a Discord on him, and then McCree just gets 2 shots on him, and Pharah's just gone. So I also wonder if D.Va is going to stick as being that 5th player, because we keep seeing it's kind of going between D.Va, sometimes Zarya, sometimes Roadhog, sometimes Winston, but I think D.Va and Zarya are probably the two biggest ones, and I think it varies according to play styles and map, I guess, as to which one of those two might be the better option.
I mean, I think it's all going to come down to personal preference. So, like, players that have just spent a little bit more time on one or the other is going to be how they're leaning. I think that a lot of the games tonight are going to be coming down to what is happening inside of the map specifically. I mean, speaking of the maps, we are looking at our map selection that's going down. Looks like for our first match, we're going to be having Hollywood is going to be the choice. So that looks like that's going to open up some potential other heroes that we might not have talked about. I know that a lot of people specifically like to... This is one of the few maps that people still try to run Widowmaker on. Try to get those trick shots off the tree.
Well, Hollywood's also really interesting when it comes to D.Va, and this is one of the ones where it's been a kind of a big, the Roadhog has come into play, especially once you get past that first point, you get into the streets phase, and then trying to gain control of that rooftop, just on the other side of the gate from point 1, for lack of a better term. We saw some great D.Va ults yesterday. I mean, getting that rooftop covered is a priority for both defending and attacking teams, and it's really just a question of what champions you need to pick that can handle that task the best.
Yeah, it used to be Winston that was the default that would jump up there and try to clear everybody out, but I think that D.Va just covers that so much better now. Just the ability to negate damage, get up there easily, get back down, and just boot people off the side. We saw it so much.
Right, and then you also have your Genjis that come in there and draw and distract from the side and flank, and it's really a question of what flankers you decide you want to go with.
Well, it's actually getting into game right now, so we're going to go ahead and send you guys over to our casters, which would be Arms Race and Aaron Lull. We will be seeing you guys after the match. Everybody enjoy.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Twitch viewers of any sort. Welcome to your Friday night here in the competitive Overwatch League. This is our Cow Open tournament. My name is Aaron LOL. We are spawned on Hollywood. I'm joined by Arms Race, and we're witnessing Witness the Fitness versus, say it, Arm.
Okay, we're seeing Witness the Fitness versus, I'm going to go with Krombopulos Michaels.
Krombopulos?
What a great name.
Krombopulos, like an O at the end, not us.
Yeah, Krombopulos Michaels.
Krombopulos. I'm thinking you're right, Arms Race. We are spawned on Hollywood, and man, both team names really killing it so far. I'm hoping we have more team names like this and less esports team names tonight.
Yeah, it's nice to have amateur teams, having fun with their names, getting some camaraderie going behind the memes. We will have Krombopulos Michaels on the red side and Witness the Fitness on the blue side, heading out of the gate right now with a pretty standard composition. 2 tanks, 2 healers, 2 DPS. Particularly looking forward to the Zenyatta in the mix here. He's been a pretty common pick ever since his buff, and he really makes a difference on these teams, cutting down the HP of those tanks with his Discord Orb. Krombopulos Michaels opting for the ledge here.
Yeah, a lot of Zenyatta these days, and he's almost like the second Reaper. He is a big tank shredder. We have the engagement started off on the red team's Reinhardt pin. Complete whiff here. Both of the tanks for the red team really just on the point, trying to take damage and do damage for their team, but we're at a 2-frag lead for Witness the Fitness, the blue team on defense right now. So we are going to see the red team slowly back up right now, try to keep their characters alive and not feed the enemy team ultimate.
Yeah, you know, the Reinhardt charge is an incredibly crucial move for any team's push. It does so much damage. It's great for taking out tanks as a tank. And if you whiff on that charge, you're going to have to reset a little bit. JonJon actually managing to catch out Rayleigh with a charge himself. But with a little bit of time, they are able to force Witness Fitness off the point, and they will secure it for themselves.
Yeah, and again, like you said, a tank making a tank elimination move in the Reinhardt pin, you know, really can make or break a fight. They ended up winning that fight without dropping a lot of ultimates, no big team fight going off, but just repositioning their tanks. I think the fact that their Zarya lived throughout that whole skirmish really kept them on the point, letting them cap pretty easily when the rest of their teammates spawned, obviously having that closer spawn advantage as well. I like the verticality we're seeing from the blue team right now as well. They're really forcing the high ground issue at the moment.
Yeah, high ground, a perfect place to take some pot shots, get those ultimate charged up. We can see that both teams have about equal ultimates as it stands right now. Witness the Fitness all approaching up on this rooftop here. But the payload's been moving the entire time.
Yeah, we do have an engagement actually started near the cart. Red team Transcendent is dropped on the offense, and we're going to see the Torben steal from the blue team as well. The frags are pretty even right now. We have our second support ultimate being dropped. Witness the Fitness is using their sound barrier to try to get their Lucio to escape, but the frag advantage was just too high, too early for the red team. There's still 5 people strong on the cart right now, just dealing with the leftover remainders of the blue team. Witness the Fitness with their Widowmaker very far overextended at the moment.
Yeah, Kephrii brutally out of position, and plenty of ultimates left standing on the side of Krombopulos Michaels. So they still got a lot of ammunition to work with when it comes to getting this payload to go the distance, and they're actually going to hold on to those ultimates. So we should see a pretty resounding push coming out of them when they reapproach this payload. Meanwhile, Witness the Fitness going to have to consider their positioning a bit more. They're opting to kind of back away from the payload, find some better vantage points.
You know, I'm glad you brought up the ultimates because we actually saw Rayreign kind of panic and use an ultimate very greedily just to score a one-on-one kill. So they're going to be rolling in without a Reinhardt ultimate. They're going to engage with a Deadeye instead, though. The Reinhardt gets the pin off. This is all the red team attacking. 3 frags in the name of the DPS classes for the red team. Zan getting 2 of those with a Deadeye. Red team looking strong on the cart right now, but the lives are actually even. The trades were pretty even in that mid-engagement.
Yeah, the trades were pretty even, but unfortunately there's no blue body on that payload, so it is going to creep forward a little bit while no teams are engaging. So that's some free distance that Krombopulos Michaels is going to be able to get covered.
Yeah, Witness the Fitness now just finally starting to put their tanks in front of the cart, both the Winston and the Reinhardt. The Winston on the red team is going to engage as the Dragon Blade comes out from the red team. Luckily, that Genji took a stun for a minute, so the Genji of the red team actually goes down. Witness Fitness looking good in this hold with the Dragon Blade out of the equation. Rayreign spending a Earth Shatter, though, and a red Transcendence going down as well. The Krombopulos Michaels look like they really want to stay on this cart, but they are outnumbered, dropping both a support ultimate and an Earth Shatter to try and stay in that fight. Turns out the Winston and the Genji just needed to backpedal.
Yeah, Alchemy on Zenyatta, whipping out the Transcendence a little bit late. Not too many red team members able to receive the benefits of that massive healing, as it was only him and Lucio left on the payload towards the end there. That's an ultimate that they're going to miss when it comes to this next attack, something they really are going to wish they had on their arsenal.
Yeah, the red team is really just rocking with a Deadeye right now. They're at a severe ultimate disadvantage. We see some posturing and the icy Genji from the red team going in aggressively. Trades are about even right now, and we have support ultimate coming down from the blue team. Witness the Fitness is spending both of their support ultimates to try to keep the situation alive. But I think the amount of damage that came out from Zan's Deadeye has really carried this cart as far as it is. I'm really surprised that the Krombopulos Michaels are still on the cart at the moment. I mean, this is with one ultimate that they've made this much success come.
Yeah, absolutely. It all comes down to the tanks being able to get in the face of the front line of the enemy team and force them back a little bit, give the team a little extra room to work with. But in the end, Krombopulos Michaels is going to complete the map.
Yeah, completed push there. I mean, really, that last push was just, I guess, confidence in your fraggings. There's times where team games like this, these shooter games, where your teammates will communicate to you, you know what? Don't pussyfoot it, for lack of a better word. Stay in there and fight until you die. And every now and then, you're going to get a really awesome 4 versus 2 situation that you actually come out on top of. And really, it looks like they just stuck in the fight there with their tanks, realizing that they were in the fight for so long. Once the DPS classes kind of respawned and got to the fight, Krombopulos Michaels steamrolled over that card with a severe ult disadvantage.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, waiting until the entire team has ultimates to use is a reliable way of getting kills and getting results. But the reality is there's a lot more than just ultimates on every hero's arsenal that they can be using. And if you've got a team member on a DPS role who's got that skill advantage, he can end up picking up a few odd kills that can turn the tide for you.
Yeah, heavy death matching is the term a lot of Quake players or Team Fortress players like to use. Death matching, just the word that was spawned in the 90s when it came to games like Doom, games like Quake, games like Team Fortress, even Counter-Strike uses the word death matching. And this is just a word used to describe the sheer one-on-one aim versus movement factor of the players. So both teams look pretty aggressive and decisive in their engagements, I've liked so far.
Yeah, absolutely. So just once again to reset, we have Witness the Fitness going to be on the blue side attacking, and defending will have Krombopulos Michaels on the red side. Team compositions fairly similar, exactly the same for Krombopulos Michaels. These seems to be the composition that teams are opting for. Lots of damage, amplified by the Discord Orb of the Zenyatta, and plenty of heals to be matched with it. We're gonna have Witness the Fitness just do a charge right through main here, and they're gonna clash head on with that of Krombopulos Michaels. Reinhardt falls down early while Rayreign still has his Reinhardt shield. The rest of Krombopulos is gonna be able to back in behind it. Even gets flashbanged out of the shield, but there's just no damage to back it up. Witness the Fitness is gonna back off and wait for additional team members. Once they have full numbers, they'll try to make another push here.
Yeah, maybe we'll see it through security. I know some teams actually like to just force 6 characters through a small entrance. Instead, they're going to go through the main choke. Both Reinhardt pins have been spent, so the tanks have kind of done their job in this fight. Rayreign staying alive for his team, though, is soaking a lot of damage. He eventually goes down, and now it's DPS versus DPS's support. Only tank on the field right now is Zarya. She's still working with very little health as she goes down. Red team's Transcendence going down as well to try to keep this fight alive. Every ultimate is being spent at the moment. Deadeye is being countered or attempting to be countered by the blue team's Transcendence. And it looks like Witness the Fitness actually has a good defense at the moment as they have more characters on the point A right now. Just as I say that, Icy receives his Death Blossom, spends it with his team. And it looks like Michaels are going to do just a fine job holding this. I really think the Reaper saved the day there.
Yeah, absolutely. The blue side not able to get enough kills right off the bat. They ended up spending a lot of time death matching, as it were, on the point, and it actually took so long that the Reinhardt that had fallen right at the beginning of the fight was able to make it back and help protect Icy during his Death Blossom and force Witness the Fitness off this point. But they're going to be coming right back with full speed, going up onto this upper ledge here.
I like the positioning on the balcony. Interestingly enough, the Tracer is trying to tease them, trying to kind of pull them off the balcony, but I don't think they're going to fall for it. They really want to keep their high ground position, and it looks like they're amped up already, so I'm expecting a speed boost onto the point. Instead of a speed boost, we get a sound barrier right away, and the sound barrier is countered by the Tortoise Steel of the red team, bringing all of the red team into one area, which is actually not a bad engagement for Rogue. He decides to spend his Death Blossom. Right after that, the red team's Earthshatter going down, but we are at a severe frag advantage for the red team, or the blue team at the moment. And the frag advantage finally shows after many ultimates being dropped, almost every support ultimate for both teams being dropped just for this point A fight. And they really need to make a move like this because we're only 1 minute away from having the availability to capture point A.
Yeah, it was a little bit of an unfortunate situation for Krombopulos Michaels. You kind of want to keep your team spread out so that they don't get caught up in the Graviton Surge. But when they laid down the Graviton Surge on Witness the Fitness, JonJon was there with his Reinhardt barrier protecting the team from the majority of the damage, and Rayreign was not there when his own team got picked up by that Graviton Surge, and it ended up resulting in a triple kill. Really changed the tides there for them.
Yeah, in most cases, unless there's a character like Winston or somebody with a melee attack to go through Reinhardt's shield, generally Reinhardt's shield right-click tends to be kind of a hard counter for Torvness Steel. We have a very interesting forced engagement from the red team. They drop down with their Transcendence and their Reinhardt. The McCree's staying on the roof to lay down free damage, and Zan is uncontested. So if he's hitting his shots, this would be a very good drop down from the red team. And as we see, Zan just going uncontested and Rayreign living through that engagement. I mean, the red team literally just dropped on top of the blue team's head and pushed them away. Very few frags came from it, though.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to credit Zergling with the MVP Lucio boop there, knocking Icy back during his Death Blossom, so he actually nets 0 kills, which is what resulted in no deaths there.
It looks like another forced engagement. The Reaper and the D.Va are all over the cart for the Krombopulos Michaels defending right now. Looks like the blue team, though, has enough DPS. Just as I say that, Icy and Zan, the DPS classes for the red team, are on the cart together. I don't think this Reaper, man, commentator's curse. That Reaper did work of 2 people like it was nothing. He must have not missed a single headshot.
Yeah, it's really satisfying when you get really up close with Reaper, landing almost all of your shot with your shotgun on someone's head, just deletes them. Really great for picking up those types of double kills.
Very nice burst damage there. We have a engagement from JonJon here. He feels as if bringing 2 tanks into his Earth Shatter is going to be worth the push for his team. And it looks like planning with Rogue's position, using his Death Blossom, it looks like Reinhardt aggression from JonJon was the absolute right move. They're now pushing as far as to get their Deadeye, their Reaper, and their Reinhardt into their enemy's spawn with 3 people on the cart. Very, very good looking push from Witness the Fitness. Very nice coordination. And look at the positioning of the blue Reaper right now, just all over the enemy team still.
Yeah, Witness the Fitness with some really decisive positioning, but Krombopulos Michaels not going to fall for it. They run straight out of the point, making sure that they can test this payload, and there's a Graviton Surge.
You know, I like the way you worded that, Arms. They literally did not fall for the trick. They were being aggressively positioned against, and as we can see right now, the red team is all over the cart. They have no problem holding this, and really just the confidence in knowing that, okay, I don't care if there's 3 classes near us. We're going to push through this choke as 6, and we'll make them force us into a pincer fight that we think we can win. So, actually, that was good.
Tempting. It's really tempting to not do that, because when you have 6 team members and you see 3, you're like, okay, if we play this right, we can pick up 3 kills. But there's a payload being neglected that whole time. There's Icy's Death Blossom, but the Transcendence is going to counter it there.
Yeah, just a good positioning from both teams, knowing that positioning is almost more important than deathmatching. We have another half team fight coming out here. JonJon is being very aggressive with wanting to pick up frags for his team. Oh, and just a huge D.Va ult. Lucio from the blue team, Zergling, turned his speed boost on and everything to try to get his team to escape. But Brent still picking up a huge amount of frags there. Rayraign's going to come out and clean up the rest of this for his red team. 30 seconds left on the payload to get it to the next checkpoint for the blue team Witness the Fitness.
Yeah, gotta give Brent some credits with some stylish self-destruct positioning. Flying the mech up into the air when he sets it off. The team, reflexively, you want to watch for where the mech is going to land. But he flew it up so high that it wasn't even going to land before it exploded and managed to pick up 3. Now it looks like Krombopulos Michaels are going to opt to fight way ahead of the point, but Rogue's coming in with the flank from behind.
And we have not only this, but the DPS class of McCree with his Zenyatta right now, also positioned with his Rogue. There's been a lot of good positioning of the McCrees in this match. And Kephrii really was flanking from the back as this Transcendence team fight happened. Rogue showed up with the Death Blossom as McCree was already laying in damage. So just 2 DPSs focusing in the same place really cleaned up this payload. They are still on very little time, though. Witness the Fitness has about 1:45 left to finish this map completely.
Yeah, there was some really smart ult usage there. You know, typically when someone describes to you the effects of McCree's Deadeye, you think that the purpose of the ult is to get kills. But the reality is you can really force some awkward positioning by the enemy team when you drop it. And that awkward positioning forced the whole team into Rogue's Death Blossom. And now they're caught up in a Graviton Surge.
Yeah, really unfortunate Graviton Surge there from the blue team. Not really catching a lot of members of the red team in it. Icy and Brent have been left to do their thing, but finally both go down. We have a big payload salsa happening at the moment. Everybody is dancing on top of the payload right now for both teams. Everybody's trying to pick up frags, and the frags are relatively even for both teams as well. Icy still holding on to an ultimate, just spawned again. We're going to see if with these ultimates there's some sort of forced engagement, because the blue team is very close to the checkpoint, and this Reaper is basically by himself at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Witness the Fitness looking to keep the momentum going here by walking all the way up into the point. Transcendences go down and the fray begins.
Yeah, Death Blossom was the very first thing to come out, and a good Zenyatta player will press Q the instant he hears die, die, die. Almost completely nullifies it. This was also coupled with the sound barrier from the red team, desperately trying to hang on to this defense. There's very little time left for both sides. The red team really just needs one more solid 6v6 engagement, and they should be holding this whether it goes into overtime or not.
Yeah, and just a reminder for our viewers out there, this is a best-of-1 match, and so Witness the Fitness really do have to secure this third point and take it to a tiebreaker if they want to continue up this ladder.
Looks like Witness the Fitness has chosen their attack path. They're going to be attacking through the enemy team's right-hand side. A D.Va ult is used as a McCree ult like you described, just to zone. We have the blue team literally just hovering over the cart, kind of hoping for frags. Are not actually actively deathmatching at the moment, and I think it's going to be to their demise. Instead of actually pushing forward, Team Witness the Fitness kind of just hung out by the cart as 6, tried to make some fragging happen, but it turns out that is not how you get into the face of your enemy and get the frags. And in this situation, they really needed to get the frag. It wasn't about getting on the overtime or getting on the cart for overtime. They didn't force any frags out of that last engagement and ended up not being able to push the cart because of it.
Yeah, it's difficult when you lose your tanks so early to have to try and figure out a way to get around the enemy's tanks and start applying damage to that back line. And Witness Fitness just not able to pull it out in the last few seconds here. They were able to make it all the way towards the studio, but it was not enough.
Yeah, pulled up right next to the trailer was the limousine with the man yelling at the attackers, who always demeans the attackers who are trying to escort him in this Hollywood map. Guys, we're going to go back to our desk. We appreciate you turning into the Cal League Open this Friday night. My name has been Aaron LOL. I'm casting with Arms Race tonight. We're going to go back to our desk, so stay tuned.
Oh, you're...
Sorry about that. We accidentally muted myself. So Poro, man. Okay, what do we talk about first? There's so much good stuff inside of that.
I think what stuck out to me the most was it just seemed that Krombopulos Michaels, and come on, casters, get out there, watch Rick and Morty. It's a great show. They got out there and they started killing again, man. And I really think that the difference so far has been the DPS from Krombopulos Michaels has just been seeming to be a lot more effective. Icy was amazing on the Genji and the Reaper. So far, it seems Rogue and Kephrii have been kind of struggling a little bit to kind of get their feet underneath them. Kephrii's Widowmaker was, you called it at the beginning, is once you get to Hollywood, seeing that Widowmaker trying to hold the rooftops down, and it was pretty effective. It slowed them down a little bit, but you also got to wonder. We were seeing the Zarya, and then towards the end we started seeing the D.Va. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of things to talk about with this one. Some of these decisions that were being made.
You could tell that Witness the Fitness is a newer team that just got together. There was a little bit of synergy that they were having issues with. There was a couple of times that, in my opinion, I think a lot of the fights in this came down to actually support ults. It seems like just every once in a while, the support ults just came out a little bit off, or that Witness the Fitness had just like they kind of staggered their ultimates just enough to where they couldn't complete that kill. So like a prime example is they would go in, they would do an Earth Shatter with Reinhardt, knock 3 people down, and then about the time they're starting to get back up, they would follow it in with the Reaper. And at that point, then the defensive ult from Krombopulos Michaels would come down and negate the Reaper. So now then they managed to survive through to the fight. It was this game of like milliseconds to seconds were the big differences that came down to me. Like as Arms Reach was talking about, there was a lot of I noticed a lot of his zoning ultimates that were going off, just trying to push people back. But every once in a while, they end up getting a kill just because of placement on both sides, which I found was peculiar. Like, there were several McCree ults that I thought were certain just to push people back. But somebody, I guess, thought they might have the angle on the McCree or wanted to go for something. They'd step out and get that 1 or 2 kills, and then either team would go in. And that's the way it went down almost every single time. If you look, whenever Witness the Fitness, or WTF, whatever you want to call them, was doing their attack where they finally got the point in round 2, we had both teams that were kind of staring over the control point with Reinhardt shields kind of shooting each other. One was on top of the, I guess, coffee house looking thing, and the other one was coming across the building on the side spawn. They did a phenomenally great job of waiting for the speed boost from Lucio before WTF went in. They went down and then immediately got hit by a Zarya ultimate, but they managed to survive through that Zarya ultimate to return a Zarya ultimate. It was almost like watching a ping pong match of Zarya ultimates there for a little while. Like one team would get caught, then they throw it over, and the other team would get caught. And it wasn't until finally it was down to, I think it was Derzan that was playing Zenyatta that came back behind Rayreign on Reinhardt, that just managed to get behind him and discord him and was just hitting him in the back of the head with Zarya balls to actually complete the point. That seemed very peculiar that your Zenyatta was separated out from your 2 DPS people and was behind their Reinhardt somehow. Like you could tell that the fights were just ending up a little too separated out, a little too chaotic. I think with a little bit of time, both teams will really clean up this style of play. It's just they need to get a little bit communication on point. I mean, Krombopulos Michaels definitely had some strong connected plays, though. I can see you want to talk.
Oh, hey, I thought that I thought both Reinhardts were actually really strong in this. But it's another thing is when you're looking at these ultimates, you have your ultimates that are your setup ultimates, right? Your Zarya ultimate and your Reinhardt Earth Shatter. When you see those, and especially when you got a McCree, you're supposed to, well, ideally you want to time that ultimate to where you knock everybody down, you get the most of these people knocked down, and then when you got McCree off to the side, being able to deadeye all the people that are knocked down, or Zarya bald. I don't even know what you.
Yeah, it comes into that milliseconds of timing. Like a lot of times, people want to use the McCree ult at the exact same time that the Earth Shatter happens, because the McCree ult has that little bit of charge time. Sure, it's only like a half second or so, but that half second is just enough for the other team to get back up, or for a defensive ultimate to come down, or for Reinhardt to step in and get a shield. So it's all, once you start getting into this area, it's all about milliseconds is where we're coming into. I just saw the fact that we're going to be following another meme name team. Who would have thought? We're going to be following Gecko Fox and Krombopulos Michaels that are going to be playing here in just a second.
Rick Fox.
Oh,
I don't think he owns Gecko Fox though.
Not yet. I mean, it's up there with Sea Algae.
It's a tragedy.
Everybody's trying to get in on it. So one thing we do need to mention is the Cow League runs a slightly different. We don't run stopwatch on a regular basis. From all of our events, we run what is considered to be the competitive format, which is where we let both teams play the map to completion. So there's not going to be any hard stops or going to be counting timers. We're going to get the full game all the way through. If both manage to complete the map, or a tie, however that becomes a factor, then we allow the coin flip to happen, and whichever team wins the coin flip gets to pick a King of the Hill map. So mainly, if both teams complete a payload map, we let the coin flip happen. Whoever would get the attacking side, I believe, gets to pick the map that they want to go to, like on Ilios or Lijiang, or however you want to, wherever they would like to go to. I mean, speaking of payloads, jumping back into that last match, there is one thing I do have to say. The Krombopulos Michaels push to win, I thought was extremely well played. If you saw what happened was they had their Lucio speed boost them in, and they immediately got to the point. The payload from the last fight was only 1.7 meters away from completion. So they just went in, and they had all of their DPS and tanks separate off to the sides, and they just had Lucio go and fight just go stand right on top of the payload. So everybody else from Witness the Fitness had to fight right on top of the payload, because if they got booped back by Lucio, or if they died, then immediately the other team would win because there'd be no one contesting. So they forced an entire fight to happen just by charging in and putting a Lucio there, and then having the whole team deflect and protect that Lucio, making him kind of the target while he still had his speed boost and was bouncing around. I thought that was a very ingenious way to force Lucio to become kind of a demi-tank there for a second and draw all the aggro, so that way everybody else can clean up everybody around it, because Witness the Fitness knew they couldn't leave that point with Lucio there, so they had to take him out. And I don't think they actually managed to finish him off in the end of it. I think he managed to survive the whole time just because he relied on his DPS to keep him up and about. I mean, that's a very interesting strategy I don't know if I've seen before.
Well, and I think that's something that Krombopulos, they were doing a lot with the Lucio, was that they were using that Lucio speed boost to, they weren't trying to ease into the fights. I mean, they were going right down their throats. I mean, they said, you want to fight, you want to come at us, we're going to go right into you. We're not going to give you the time to set up and do your concave pattern. We're just going to charge right in the middle of all of you and force the point. And we're going to force you to engage us in fights. And we're going to force you to make decisions in a very, very split second manner, to where, half of your team ends up over here, half your team ends up over here. Your Lucio gets separated from your DPS. Your tanks are all the way over here because your Reinhardt charged and maybe missed a box because he had to do it a little bit earlier than he wanted to. So I thought that forcing them into these fights, that they, without giving the time to really prep, was helping us a lot.
Actually, everybody on screen should just now be seeing the team starting to do some picks here. So we're going to be talking over this. Naturally, we're going to expect most of the 2-point maps are going to be disappearing. So Volskaya, Hanamura are already off the table. Surprisingly, Watchpoint Gibraltar has already gone down as well. I wouldn't be surprised. We're going to end up probably with the last three. It's going to come down to, are we playing on Dorado, Hollywood, Kings Row, or Route 66? Where do you think that they're going to take it?
Most likely Dorado.
Dorado?
And I think this because Cal has the Dorado curse, right? You've got the curse of the Arch that you just can't get past it.
They said no. They just said no. That was the first one. We're sitting here looking at all four of them, and they're like, no curse, no Arch. We're not dealing with Dorado .1. I mean, it's a ballsy choice. Whenever you pick Dorado and you say, I want to play on Dorado, you're saying, I have confidence in our team, our communication. We can hold you at .1, or we can fight our way through .1. It looks like we're going to the fan favorite, Kings Row, for this next match.
Awesome.
You know what this means, Poro? I'm
not that lucky. I'm not going to see Junkrat. We won't. Maybe we might see a Sinatraa. Maybe we might see the D.VA again. Interesting.
I'm willing to see a D.VA.
Well, it's interesting to know. We were talking about the argument for D.VA over Zarya, and both teams in the last round went with Zarya for a good, that whole first round, and then a good portion of the second, and then the D.VA came back and add one of those amazing D.VA skyball ults that everybody loves, where they just goes right in the middle and drops down, and nobody expects it and picks up ridiculous amount of kills.
Difference. It's that 1 second. If you just turn and you shoot D.VA's ultimate straight up in the air, you can just kind of sit there as D.VA, pop out and go into cover. And everybody's so used to the months that we've been playing where the D.VA ult will drop back down, and you're like, oh, okay, I'll get behind something and die. That 1 second change means the fact that it's just like maybe probably 10 to 20 meters off the ground whenever it goes off. Large enough to actually still kill people in the blast radius, but you actually have to look up to see where it is. But
right.
All right, so we're getting ready to head into game, everybody. So this is where we've got Gecko Fox versus Krombopulos Michaels. We're going to be passing it back over and see you guys here in just a second. Arms Race and Aaron, take us away.
Good evening again, Twitch viewers. My name is Aaron LOL. We are at the competitive Overwatch League Open Tournament number 8 tonight. I am joined by Arms Race, and we are now spawned on Kings Row for another match featuring the Krombopulos Michaels versus the red team, Gecko Fox.
Yeah, and shout out to the analyst desk there for reminding me where the name Krombopulos Michaels comes from.
Rick and Morty is a really good show to me
with the S. Yeah, no, it's been a long time since I've watched it, and it just didn't click, but I totally get it now. Krombopulos Michaels is that assassin alien with no moral code. I love it. Perfect for a competitive Overwatch team. They're going to need that ruthlessness as they go forward.
ruthlessness in their aggression and hopefully ruthlessness in their humor as well. The Krombopulos Michaels are already spawned on point A in the blue team, and Gecko Fox is hanging out in their spawn, probably spamming lots of voice lines at the moment. They are going to be the red team on attack here. We're about 10 seconds away from spawning on King's Row with our next match on the competitive Overwatch League Open. Again, guys, if you're not familiar, go to the competitive Overwatch subreddit, and you can find our Discord there. Very resourceful tool for you guys to take a look into.
Krombopulos Michaels running a pretty standard competitive team comp, but we see a little bit of variation coming out from Gecko Fox, which is pretty exciting to see here.
Huge aggression from Gecko Fox, too. Their Winston died pretty fast, but their Winston got onto point A, dealt damage onto the blue team near point A right away, and this has led to the McCree and the Zarya just hanging out together, picking up tons of frag. I mean, that was literally first push, first attempt, point A capture. Very, very nice work.
Yeah, excellent work coming out from Gecko Fox. Any person who's played competitive King's Row knows that it is always a bad sign when you're on defense and your first real engagement with the attacking team is behind the point itself. That's a really difficult position to be in, and Xretzi picking up tons of kills towards the end there.
Yeah, they were really forced back into the corner, and a corner is never usually a good place to be in, no matter what game you're in. So we have a forced engagement from the Krombopulos Michaels here in blue. They speed boost in. Their tanks are up front doing what they should do, but their Rayreign goes down pretty quickly. So with the Reinhardt shield down, Icy is going to be abandoned by his Winston. Icy is left all alone, 3 versus 1 at the moment. Don't think he'll be escaping here, but he at least lays in some damage, softening up the red team as they are pushing on the cart. And Zan, very interesting choice, decides to Deadeye to try to keep the momentum actually stopped on the cart, but him and his Winston got taken out in a heartbeat, and now there are 4 red team members on the payload.
Yeah, and if you're Krombopulos Michaels, you have to start considering the fact that you may be dealing with a slight skill disadvantage coming up against Gecko Fox, and if that is the case, your next step has to be coordinating ultimate combos. And so that is what they're going to try and do next as they advance forward here.
Speaking of ultimate combos, we have another very quickly engaged team fight. We have 5 ultimates up and being spent on the red team right now, trying to desperately push the blue team off the payload. A Dragon Blade is spent from Spirit, trying to clean up more of the blue team. Spirit and Desro getting kills with his tank. Looks like the Krombopulos Michaels, Gecko Fox, all over the card, spending their ultimates that they had. And I mean, they were going into that fight with 5 ultimates, and they've spent 3 of them to secure the payload at the next checkpoint. So their positioning looking very strong right now. At this point, they're just choosing when and where they engage.
Yeah, absolutely massive ultimate advantage on the side of Gecko Fox, and you really have to question the Krombopulos Michaels' decision to go in when they had no ultimates available. They blew the ones and Yada Transcendence in the process. They have some ultimates now, so they may be able to get some work done here.
Yeah, they did the same thing this time. They speed boosted into the area that they wanted to take. They took their real estate, but the red team just did the same thing to them. There's a Deadeye coming out from Zan behind his allies' shields. And Zan's actually going to pick up a kill or 2 with Brent using Primal Rage, pushing back the red team. It really looks like the Krombopulos Michaels, whether they're at an ult disadvantage or not, are playing for real estate. And they are aggressively playing for real estate. Lots of speed boosting their tanks up front and just saying, we're here, we're ready to fight, whether they're at a disadvantage or not, which may be to their dismay soon.
Yeah, and Icy on the Reaper has been finding really good vantage points to flank from, and he's still kept his death loss in that whole time. He's not going to be there to use it this time, though.
And the Torbastille that just came out from Midnight seriously was kind of like a zoning ultimate. It took up 3 characters in it. His team is with him now. Midnight had a decent Torbastille, but there was nobody doing damage to those 3 characters except for Midnight, the Zarya herself. Once the teammates came behind Zarya, though, they just really cleaned up the rest of the payload. I mean, that was seriously not a good Torbastille, and the red team is still way ahead in frag. Icy goes for a desperate attempt here with the death loss, but gets taken out very, very quickly. Moved out of the equation, back to the payload.
Yeah, Icy got picked out super early in that last engagement, so Gecko Fox did have the numbers disadvantage, which got them all the way here to this point, which they will secure. And so that'll be 3 points to Gecko Fox, and a long road ahead here for Krombopulos Michaels.
Score.
Yeah, now one thing we've noticed by watching a lot of competitive Overwatch is most teams do better when they're on attack. A lot of people like to talk about statistics, about how often you win when you're attacking compared to defending. So we're really, really going to see how good the red team Gecko Fox is in this situation, because they're kind of being put at the disadvantage, which is the defender's disadvantage. So if the Krombopulos Michaels have a chance to beat the red team in any way, it's probably going to be on attack. That being said, if this were a stopwatch match, I would call GG right now and just saying that Gecko Fox so far is outplaying and out-deathmatching their opponents in pretty much 9 out of 10 situations.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is still a chance for Krombopulos Michaels. I think that the real indicative moment for them will be this first push. When they were defending, they got forced all the way back behind the capture point, and then most of them met their end right afterwards. If they're able to pull off a capture in a similar fashion, then I would say that there is a chance for them. And so that's what we're going to be looking for them to pull off, and not really struggle here with capturing the first point. They want to just get this out of the way.
And this map is notorious for being well balanced. Most people like it. The first point is a relatively fair fight, but usually when it gets to the street phase, the defending team has their biggest advantage that they're going to have on this map. The street phase and the final phase for this map is usually when the defenders do the best. I'm hoping we actually have Icy on Widow here. We have a bit of a meta pick. Looks like Icy is about to change characters as I say that. Yup, we're straight to Genji we go. We're 3 seconds away from spawning on King's Row, guys. My name is Aaron LOL. I'm joined by Arms Race tonight in the competitive Overwatch League Open.
Right out of the gate here, we're going to see the 2 DPSers take a nice little flank on the blue side. They're going to try and get up and around to the other side of Gecko Fox. It does look like a few people caught them.
Yeah, I'm glad they have been cited, because the DPS classes that they chose are very knife's edge DPS classes. They're the highest mobility classes in the game. Very fast. They lay out great damage as well. Zan is not really participating with the Genji. Icy finally joins the fight now on the point. And it looks like Rayreign and his buddies are actually going to have a pretty successful push onto the point so far. Krombopulos Michaels using the power of mobility and the annoying powers of Tracer to just lay in damage and keep their DPS classes alive. And if you look, since the beginning of this game, Icy and the Tracer, Zan, have not died at all. So the high mobility DPS class is looking to be a good choice for point A.
Yeah, and this was the strong showing that I was looking for. This is the sign that Krombopulos Michaels still has something to say in this particular matchup. And, you know, hopefully they'll be able to carry this momentum through, but you have to think about how it also contributes to team morale after having such a quick loss in the first matchup to switch sides and have such an emphatic win on that first capture. That's got to keep the team spirits raised. Hopefully they're motivated and communicating well for this extra little road here.
Yep, here in the streets phase, we do see a speed boost from the red team coming down, deciding to spend their Earth Shatter. Desro not really picking up anything with the Earth Shatter, but thankfully the DPS classes of the red team is actually picking up a few frags. The blue team has not been moved from the cart yet, and Icy not only has a Zarya bubble on him, but is using his Dragon Blade to the fullest extent. The Torbjorn steal was a little bit late from Brent, but it came down in time to let Icy do his job. Icy and Brent picking up at least 4 frags alone by themselves there. Really looking dominant in the streets phase here, and like you said, feeling really confident.
Yeah, absolutely. You can tell that the team is all on the same page, using those ultimates coordinated so that they can get every single team member in that Dragon Blade taking that cone of damage, which is absolutely massive.
The pace of this game particular between these two teams has been nonstop. Anytime both teams have 6 characters in respawn, there's a very short footsie phase. They don't even really play footsies or poking with each other. They just speed boost and go for an engagement. We have a Deadeye coming out that looked like it was denied. I could not tell where that Deadeye came from, as the death matching for both teams was just all over the cart with the red team coming out on top. And the red team was the one that forced that issue. I mean, every time both of these teams have 6, they are engaging each other really quickly. Like, there's very little positioning happening in this match. It's just engagement after engagement.
Yeah, and huge shout out to Zan. He was playing Tracer when Xretzi whipped out that Deadeye from a distance, and Zan threw down the Pulse Bomb and actually canceled it that way, picking up a double kill in the process. Pretty clutch maneuver there, which ended up saving the majority of their team, which was exposed to that Deadeye.
Yes, very nice save. That is the Deadeye. That Deadeye went down so fast, I only heard it, did not see it. A very, very, very good Torbjorn comes down for Midnight, and realistically, Midnight and Desro just cleaned up everything. The kill feed may say differently, but Desro was sitting there swinging that hammer, hitting multiple characters with each swing. Again, Reinhardt swings 1 swing per second, doing 75 damage per swing, so Desro and Midnight just coordinating perfectly together, getting a very, very easy ult combo cleanup there.
Yeah, I absolutely love the damage that comes out of the Reinhardt hammer. It is a melee attack, so that 75 damage is applied to everybody within the space around you. So if you're in the enemy team's face, you can be applying that damage to almost all the team members. Here comes another Graviton Surge.
Another Torbjorn comes out. Graviton Surge to spend. It looks like the red team really wants to hang on their position. They're deciding to use their Transcendence, and Desro realistically had just enough shield to survive that Torbjorn, which is basically the #1 counter for Graviton Surge. The Reaper from the red team just showing up at the perfect time after the Graviton Surge was already finished with. The red team was spread out. Spirit comes in with the Death Blossom and makes for another easy 2 ultimate hold.
Yeah, and so this is when the momentum of Krombopulos Michaels stops matching up with that of Gecko Fox. Gecko Fox was able to clear this particular checkpoint much more quickly, and so now Krombopulos Michaels is going to have to start rethinking their strategy. They're going to need to adapt, but it looks like the red team's not going to give them too much time to do that.
Yeah, they do adapt, like you said, by changing Brent to a DPS-focused tank in the name of Roadhog. We have Midnight spending the ultimate from Zarya, using her Torbjorn to try to suck the red team or the blue team together, but the blue team spending their sound barrier and taking a good engagement here. They basically pushed the DPS classes from the red team away and secured the payload in that matter. Spirit, the Reaper from the red team, was really out of position, not really applying damage, and had to run away from the fight really early. And when your DPS class is taken out of the equation and your Reaper's not there to deal with Brent, the Roadhog, it's going to be really hard to hold the cart against a Roadhog and a Reinhardt. It's just too much health to be able to burst down.
Absolutely. Desro gets picked, and so without that tank, Krombopulos Michaels going to have a lot of room to pick up here. They pick up a decent distance on this payload, but Desro is back, and he puts down that shield. Krombopulos Michaels goes right in, though.
The Earth Shatter from Desro picks up a lot of stun. Midnight and Xretzi traveling together, picking up a lot of frags at the moment. We have 3 minutes left for the Krombopulos Michaels to make this payload get to its final destination. They still have a chance, but like you said, as of the past 2 minutes, their momentum has been severely stunted by the red team, Team Gecko.
Yeah, absolutely. Really satisfying ultimate usage coming out of Gecko Fox. Desro's Earth Shatter laying out most of Krombopulos Michaels to be picked up by Xretzi's Deadeye.
You know, Jeff Kaplan would be really happy with this competitive match. Brent is switching characters, it seems like, every 3 lives or so. We have a change to D.VA from the Roadhog player. The engagement here from the red team was just much too easy. Looks like we had a sound barrier drop that was on the point, and really easy hold for the red team again. I'm looking for a different attack path from the blue team, because so far pushing through the mid choke has just not worked. This is about their 5th push in this corridor.
Yeah, absolutely, but I would have to say that Gecko Fox has probably the most firm vantage point they've had so far in this defense, with Spirit coming around with that Death Blossom.
And this is just a simple DPS engagement. I'd like to think that unless you're spending support ultimates or crowd control ultimates, that you're not really dedicating to a team fight. So spending 1 Deadeye or 1 Death Blossom to get your, a team fight going is really good. Spending 1 DPS ult to re-solidify your position. Spirit doing a very good job of coming in, at the wrong time for the blue team.
Yeah, and in the 2 previous engagements before the last one, Gecko Fox have been kind of on the back foot, but now all of their team members are exactly the place they want them to be, and you can tell because single members of the team are having such bigger impacts.
We're still seeing great aggression here from the Krombopulos Michaels. The D.VA literally goes headfirst with her Reinhardt Rayreign, trying to push back all of the enemy red team, and it looks like they've done it successfully. The Reinhardt and the Zenyatta for the red team is just shoved back into a corner while they wait for the rest of their team to spawn. A very desperate Deadeye comes out from Xretzi, trying to fend back the blue team. The blue team is having none of it, even though they're being Torbjorn right now. They spend their Transcendence and keep their Reinhardt shield up to stay in the fight. Zan picking up frags along with Rayreign. Arms, Rayreign has literally been alive this whole team fight and has just caused a big problem because of that. The blue team should for sure have this payload.
Yeah, that's absolutely the position you want your tanks to be in. Certainly some credit goes to the Zenyatta and Lucio with all of the shields and heals that they have been offering him. Self-destruct going to be negated by the barrier there. The rest of the blue team going to be able to contest this.
And we now have the payload salsa happening. Everybody is dancing and firing their weapons around the payload. Looks like we have a tie situation here in our King's Row map between these two teams. So we're going to see the coin flip, which I believe will result in a match, or not a match, a map pick.
Yes, exactly. When both teams have an equal amount of points, the team that wins the coin flip and is determined to be attacking will instead go back to lobby, and they'll pick a King of the Hill map to play one round of. So they won't play the best of 3, they'll just go to one particular round, and the team that wins that, it will be decided that they are the victors, and they will move along up our bracket. And it looks like they'll be playing against Team of Snow, whoever is the victor of this particular tiebreaker.
Again, so we are going to a King of the Hill match, but it will not be the first to 3 captures or the first to any amount of points. It is the first to make 100% capture. So this is a tiebreaker for King's Row for our match between the Krombopulos Michaels. Whew, that's a really fun one to say over and over. And the red team Gecko Fox. We'll let you guys know if the colors change. We should not be in the lobby very long. Both teams are ready and want to get this tiebreaker done with. And Arms, I'm really looking forward to a King of the Hill match. I want you to talk about it because, again, these teams are literally just engaging over and over. They're barely doing footsies at all. Just engage, engage, engage every single time.
Yeah, and you know, the strategy changes a little bit once you get to King of the Hill because you are trying to maintain a singular position. And so you're not going to have too many options when it comes to engagement. A lot of times, if you're capturing the point, you have no choice but to be engaged upon. A lot of teams especially don't want to move too far ahead of that point because they want to be able to contest it if one of the enemy team members is able to make it there. So we should see a slight change in tactics coming out from both teams. But I think, you know, the common play, we'll see the same players that we saw making a difference on the previous maps.
And, you know, you mentioned the style of play change. I'm going to let you take it away again, but right away, style of play change, guess what? 2 tanks, Winston, Zarya, they are the kings of the hill when it comes to tanks on King of the Hill.
Yeah, absolutely. Reinhardt going to take a step back now. Winston going to opt in instead. Also, I want to point out the Tracer pick coming out from Xretzi. I'm really eager to see that. It seems like Xretzi is a pretty good aimer coming out from Gecko Fox. And to see what he can do zipping around on that Tracer, I think it'll be an interesting sight to behold.
To see what Xretzi can do is what we're looking forward to, but just the Tracer-Winston combo is very renowned in the community for being a strong combo. Desro is engaging on the enemy's bridge right away, jumping into the face of the support members and the DPS classes of the blue team. Krombopulos Michaels is having a really hard time holding their own on their bridge, and we see a huge frag advantage for Team Gecko Fox right now. I mean, that was almost a whole team wipe within 15 seconds, Arms.
Yeah, it was a pretty decisive team kill. Desro was in the face of Krombopulos Michaels so quickly, and you could tell that they got a little discombobulated, they got scattered, they weren't really focusing the same targets for the majority of that fight, and that's going to result in most of the team falling, but they're not dissuaded, they're coming right back into it.
Yes, very aggressive pushing here. Unfortunately, the Krombopulos Michaels have been split up. Rayreign, the tank, not playing Reinhardt this time, was traveling with his Genji. The short story is Genji and Winston died very quickly because they were 4 versus 2, while the rest of the Krombopulos Michaels were stuck on the bridge battling the other teammates of the red team, Gecko Fox. So Gecko Fox with a very easy hold here, really just controlling the bridge, and a Genji and a Winston tried to dive, but they just got focused way too quick.
Yeah, and the team's tactics are very similar. You might question why it's not working out for Krombopulos Michaels, but Rayreign is getting focused out every time when he leaps in as Winston. Here comes the Graviton Surge.
Graviton Surge has been spent and is over. Primal Rage comes out from Desro. Desro is really kind of carrying this game. I want to mention at the beginning of this fight, Xretzi was in a perfect position. It was like a 5-1 pincer attack where, you know, 5 of the red team was engaging the blue team as they all 6 pushed onto the point. Xretzi was in that undetectable Tracer position where she was just laying in damage over and over, but literally undetected, not dealt with. Xretzi has not died that I have seen yet. We have another forced engagement from the Krombopulos Michaels, and it looks like Spirit wants to put an end to this engagement by popping Dragon Blade, picking up a Lucio kill, very important to keep a team fight stumped if you kill the support. We have Tracers battling it out on the point, but Zan seeing a very low success rate compared to Xretzi in the Tracer position, and the blue team hasn't even capped yet.
Yeah, we're seeing Desro get a lot of results on Winston, but no Winston player is an island. Winston has very limited range and mobility, so when you see all those kills coming down, it's because his team is focusing every target he picks.
Oh, and Alchemy accidentally falls off the bridge. Alchemy pops the Transcendence as Gecko Fox pops their Transcendence, and it looks like even though they lost their support who was using his Transcendence, the blue team's finally going to get a capture on the point. They're trying to aggressively hold their position, using their DPSs to push back the red team off of their bridge. It is literally one capture away, though, from the red team claiming this victory in a 1-1 King of the Hill tiebreaker for King's Row.
Yeah, and a little bit of breathing room now for Krombopulos Michaels. The fight that ends up working out for them is the fight where Rayreign doesn't fall on Winston early and actually gets to run around that back line with that Tesla cannon and apply his area damage. Now he's going to throw out the Primal Rage on the bridge here.
We have both backliners going at it. Rayreign spending Primal Rage. The red team's Desro spending Primal Rage and getting focused very quickly, though. And another solid hold from the blue team. I just want to point out that every moment that the blue team's Rayreign has been in the back lines, that Icy has also been somewhere else in the back lines. So the Genji and the Winston on the blue team have been staying very, very active. Genji's and Winston on both teams. It looks like we're going to have a forced engagement near the point. Sound barrier being spent from Phaze, picks up 5 of his teammates in the sound barrier. Spirit spending ultimate to pick up some kills here with Dragon Blade. Transcendence is on the point for the red team. The red team is looking very dominant in their frags right now. The only person left on the blue team is the support class. He is all by himself at the moment, and overtime fades away as the red team, Gecko Fox, is going to win the tiebreaker, meaning they win the King's Row map. Good game to them. We're going to watch a play of the game real quick. My name has been Aaron LOL. I'm joined by Arms Race here, guys. This is the competitive Overwatch League Open number 8. We're going to transition to our desk here. Thank you for joining us on Twitch TV tonight, guys. All right.
Oh, right. Now, man, okay. Both those teams embrace the Krombopulos Michael viewpoint of life of let's just go killing again and again and again. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. So, where do we want to start inside of this one? I mean, let's just say rip point A in King's Row.
Yeah, they both teams kind of found out how to get through that as quickly as possible, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, it was insane how quickly that point got switched. Usually you see those points get held for quite a while, but there was just so much aggression from both teams. Like, you could see that it kind of didn't work for either one, because whenever it came to holding the first point, neither team was very solid at it because they wanted to go in so hard. But then once it came time for the defensive holds, that's where the attackers both got slowed down, was because the aggression from the defenses on both sides was just, let's go in, let's go in, let's go in, over and over and over again.
Yeah, and you could, I mean, especially with that second round when Krombopulos Michaels was on attack, you could tell that they were trying. I mean, they were trying everything. They must have gone through half the champions, the relevant champions in this game, trying to figure out some way to push through the defense of Gecko Fox. I mean, Brent, like, you know, Aaron was saying, Brent must have played like 3 different chat things. Yeah, I think we saw him on Roadhog, we saw him on D.VA, we saw him on Zarya. I mean, he was pulling out everything. They were trying whatever they could to move that point, and it just didn't work out for him in the end. Well,
I think
it did work out for him, didn't it?
Yeah,
It
they managed to get there. One of the big things about this is I felt like this one, I know last time we did was like, oh, well, it's DPS and supports. This match was all about the tanks, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the Destro on Reinhardt was, like the casters were saying, he was just a damage machine, just the same as everybody else. Brent was bouncing around from hero to hero and being effective with every single one of them. I mean, Midnight, in my opinion, the whole reason why in the King of the Hill match that Gecko Fox did so well and held for so long was they had Midnight on Zarya that was at like 70 to 90 energy until she died, which they didn't die. She didn't die until the Krombopulos Michaels took the point the first time, and it was like a huge energy the whole time. I think the whole time only died once because I think they went and got the point again, and that was kind of the end of it. I think it was an entire game almost high energy, near 100% the whole time, and only one death. That's just so much damage.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I think one of the things that happened here was, especially on the King of the Hill. I mean, you could see it a lot easier than on the others, but you could see Gecko Fox was giving Krombopulos Michaels a little bit of their own medicine. What they dropped on Witness the Fitness with just taking it right to them. I mean, when the gates opened on Lijiang and they ran out, and you had Winston in the middle of the squishies on the bridge before they could even do anything. I mean, they team wiped them before the point even opened. I mean, that's unreal.
That comp was hyper aggressive. I mean, Genji, Tracer, and then Harambe all coming at you super strong. What are you gonna do? I mean, like, and then the whole time while that was going on, the rest of the team was firing into them and just Midnight getting all kinds of energy fed up. What do you do there? I mean, there's just so much damage on your face, already killing your supports. Their supports are still alive. At that point, you just have to try to regroup. But it just felt. I mean, I do have to give it to Krombopulos Michaels for having a lot of heart inside of that. I mean, you can see it. That first round, Gecko Fox, yes, chat, I see you with your stinky cheese and Xretzi or Riot that you guys are posting. I see it. Xretzi's good. I give it to you. I think that even Krombopulos Michaels after that first round had to kind of go, okay, this is going to be rough. But I mean, they just went straight in right after that first round, and they were, for lack of a better term, taking one of those like phrases everybody uses, but they didn't leave anything. They went in and they were like, okay, we're going to try, and it was just play after play after play. Like one of the big things that just got me was whenever Krombopulos Michaels was going on King's Row in round 2, and they were trying to get that last little bit. And we talked about how Brent had switched heroes like a million times. We had Xretzi on McCree, blow ultimate while it's just like there's like we're almost out of time, like the payload's right here. McCree ultimate steps out, it's Xretzi. You're like, oh my god, okay, this is where it's going to go down. All of a sudden, you see Brent he's on one side of the map, turn around, fly over there on D.Va, slam into Xretzi's face, and just start spamming his defensive matrix, and it's like okay, well, I just absorbed all that. Sure, his mech went down like right afterwards, but man, I have to really give it to Brent for being everywhere. I think a lot of that game was on him without a doubt.
Yeah. I mean, Xretzi was definitely great on that McCree. Spirit was amazing on that Reaper. I mean, I think he between Spirit and Desro with the Reinhardt, I think they shut down two of those last pushes on the Streets page in the second round. I mean, he just had perfect positioning every time. Xretzi was in a also had great positioning. I mean, he was back there with the Zenyattes, keeping himself out of danger, yet still constantly pumping damage out on the other team. Not tumbling. You know, whenever I play McCree, it's always like pow pow pow. Oh, let me just tumble right in the middle of all your team and take like 3 Reaper shots to the face and just die. But you know, Xretzi clearly better than that. Obviously better than me.
I also do kind of have to give it to Locke on that for Gecko Fox. He was doing a phenomenally good job on Zenyatta, and it seemed like we were talking about the damage engine that was Destro inside that with that cleaving Reinhardt hammer everywhere. Just about any time you saw him go in, and he got all the focus, there was Zenyatta either with Harmony Orb on him or blowing ultimate right there with him every single time. I mean, it's everybody inside of Gecko Fox knew their role, knew what they wanted to do. They knew that they wanted to play hyper aggressive, and they executed it exactly how they wanted to do it. And I mean, whenever it all works well in playing hyper aggressive, man, it's a thing of beauty and death and destruction and killing again. But it's a double-edged sword because like as the further we go into this tournament, when you play with that much aggression, it doesn't always work in your favor.
Well, and I think one of the things about Gecko Fox that showed you know a lot of they have good communication and that they're a little bit more that they are kind of cohesive as a team, is that they lost that first point just as quickly as Krombopulos Michaels lost it, but they were able to rally and get back together and hold that second point and keep that street phase, extending that out for a lot longer. And yeah, obviously they lost it in the end, but at the same time, it's good to see that this team is able to take a loss like that, to take that quick loss and be able to get back on its feet again, and stiffen up and just stop and just get back together. Don't get tilted. Don't let the snowball start rolling, but to just get your feet back underneath you, calm down, take a deep breath, and get back out there and set up and make a hold. And I think that they were doing that really well in this game.
I have to agree, because at some part, I mean, even the casters were like, okay, look, if this was stopwatch, that would be rough. You'd almost be seeing GGs now. You have to know that Krombopulos Michaels knew that as well. And that hits you. I mean, everyone here has played video games. Naturally, you're here on Twitch. It hits you. And I have to give them a lot of credit. Sure, they didn't take the win in the end, but man, they showed the heart to go through with it. And I mean, I could easily see a lot of people just going, what do we do now? And start arguing, everybody fighting. They had a game plan. They stuck to it. Gecko Fox had a plan. They stuck to it. And both of their plans were aggression. And just Gecko just went with that extra little bit of aggression. And I mean, Xretzi has got some solid aim. I got to give it to him.
Absolutely.
That's a Turner. Okay, yes, Twitch chat. Yes, Xretzi. Just stop with the spam already. We're going to see him again. We're going to Gecko Fox versus Team of Snow. Yes, you can calm down. We get the spam. We see.
Keep spamming. Spam your little hearts out. It's Xretzi or Riot. Let's do this.
Why do you hate me, Porter? Why do you hate me? All right. So right now we have the other teams that are getting set up, and it's about that point whenever I remind you guys, hey, guess what? Matcherino! Matcherino! You guys type it in, hop in, use the code, donate some money. It's free. Just hop in. Remember, you're accumulating points. Every minute that you're watching us, you get a point. Donate, get 5 times the points. So look, you get free stuff. You can support the scene. Remember, all of this money in this prize pool goes to these amateur teams, and man, can they use it! I mean, just right now we are at $151. I mean, that's not insignificant for a fledgling esports team or a very solid esports team. $150 can go quite a ways into some equipment, headphones, keyboards, new mice. Make sure you give them support. Doesn't take anything except for taking a second, alt-tabbing off, and following the tab that goes over there. I know you can't look at us for a couple of seconds, but it'll be fine. Go to Matcherino.
Struggle through.
I know. All right. So we've seen a whole bunch of stuff today. So now that we're getting ready for the draft to pop up, and we'll be talking about that. And so, what are we expecting? We're expecting more King's Row. I know we were talking about the Demon Auto. For everybody that doesn't know, it's like Satan's armpit, for lack of a better term. It's a place that's just impossible to push through without good coordination. So, what do you say, Mike?
I don't know. Hopefully, we'll see something a little bit more. I want to see more variety, man. I just really want to see Junkrat. You know how I like Junkrat. At a certain point, I know it's meta, and I know that these are the things that are OP, and I know that these are the things we need to play. But sometimes you want to see a Troubjorn. Sometimes you want to see a Junkrat. Sometimes you want to see somebody that you haven't seen over and over and over and over again. But I mean, I get it. At least we got to see something. We got to see a Widow tonight, which was nice. We're getting to see Tracer. I thought it was interesting in the King's Row, the pushing the first point with the Tracer and Genji, two flankers, with no McCree. I mean, there's ways that you can win these different points on these different maps. I mean, each section of each map is its own creature, right? You don't have to feel like you're a slave to this meta when you think about it in each part in a different way, right? So, the perfect example is Junkrat on that first point at King's Row. You know, holding that room with the traps and the satchel charges, and then you know it's possible, or Symmetra even on King's Row, holding that room. You know, there's places that every champion is good. Unfortunately,
Naturally.
we just get Zenyatta's and McCree's over and over and over again.
Well, I mean, that's kind of like a lot of people get hard formed into the meta. As a lot of people can see, we've actually lost a lot of payload maps. Watchpoint Gibraltar, New Bonnie, and Hollywood are all off. We've already lost the two-point control point maps with Volskaya and Hanamura. So I think we're starting to get in that slow point where people are trying to decide, like, oh, I think somebody banned something that somebody was willing to play. But I agree with what you're talking about. The whole premise of Overwatch and what makes it unique is well, not necessarily unique, but the speed at which you are supposed to rotate heroes. That's supposed to be part of it. Like, somebody's supposed to pick something, and then you're supposed to kind of pick them, and then they're supposed to kind of pick you. That's the way it rolls. Sure, there is a static meta of what is the most efficient at the direct time, but there are counters to what is the most efficient. And I think that one of the things that we should start seeing as this progresses is we're going to see a lot more counter picking that's going to start happening, especially whenever we start running comps like where you're running Tracer and Genji. But okay, so let's see. We've got draft going on. We got Dorado, Kings Row, Nepal, and Lingjang Tower left. This is peculiar. So Dorado's still on here at Kings Row, so there's your Junkrat hope. Still got it.
They won't do it. They're scared. They're not as amazing Junkrat as I am.
Like, we just need to get you a shirt with Junkrat at this point, and like a hat, so every time it goes through.
The Australian bomber, man. I mean, it brings back memories of playing Ziggs on League of Legends. It brings back memories of playing Bomberman 64 with my friends. You know, how can you not love Junkrat as a character, or as a thing to do just in general, just chucking bombs?
Yeah. So now what we're looking at is most likely a control point. We got the Junkrat that's going to be running. Given Echo Fox's aggro, Gecko Fox. I said it. Oh, they got me.
Rick Fox is the greatest.
All these trick names. Sooner or later, you're gonna always mess it up. So Gecko Fox. I just got to think like the Gecko Fox. So with that being said, we're probably going to see some control points that are happening. Not control point, but payload maps that are going to be happening. With the aggression that we saw from Gecko Fox, do you think that they're going to continue in that format, or do you think that they're going to try to dial it back? Do you think that was just they got a vibe of like, okay, we got this is how the first point went down, so we're just going to go hyper aggro that whole time?
I mean, I think it's working for them. Why would you switch it? I mean, we haven't gotten to see Team Snow yet tonight, so not really sure how they're operating. But Gecko Fox, when they're playing aggressive, it's working for them, and the way that they're doing it is really discombobulating the enemy in such a way that they're having a hard time recovering. So, you know, I think stick with that at the beginning, especially on attack, and see what happens, and then obviously just make your adjustments as the game goes on. But yeah, I think you definitely stick with that aggression.
Right. So looks like we're going to be headed to Hollywood for the Gecko Fox versus Team of Snow. So Hollywood, we saw Widowmaker, we saw all kinds of interesting stuff coming out of that. I think that we're going to be seeing a lot of D.Va. Maybe Winston. I mean, Gecko Fox did seem to like it.
I've been kind of surprised at how much Winston we've been seeing today on these payload maps. I'm just not. I'm not buying that Winston is a better pick than a D.Va right now, or even a Zarya for that matter on these control or payload maps.
Defense Matrix though is so good.
Defense Matrix is great. I know. So I mean, why would you pick that Winston over the D.Va that has that mobility? I mean, not that Winston doesn't have mobility, but she has the mobility. The Defense Matrix is way more OP than the Winston shield. And I think she does more static damage, I think, than the Winston does. More reliable damage. But we keep seeing it over and over again. So maybe they know something I don't.
Okay, so we have a request from Arms Race. He's got a question for us. And chat, let's see if you can help us out with it. All right, so if you could send one Overwatch hero to the Olympics, who would you send and what event would they be playing in?
Oh, man. That's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I really am partial to the Reaper BMX, the BMX Reaper icon and spray, but I'm not entirely sure that BMX needs to be an Olympic sport in the first place.
Dude, it's so edgy though.
Yeah, I know. Call me an old man, I guess. But oh man, my favorite Olympic sport is curling. I know it's a Winter Olympic sport, but curling is just the best because I'm fat and I'm old, and that's literally probably the only thing that I could ever get to go pro in at this point is curling. So I'm trying to figure out like who do you think would be the best Overwatch curler? I mean, other than Soldier 76 because he's old, but he's not fat enough.
I don't even know how to play curling, dude. You're talking about like
it's shuffleboard, man. You ever been to a bar?
I don't know. I'm guessing Lucio, since he's got like the hockey stick, maybe he's used to it. But let me think. Oh no, May, because she's got the like her ult, that little toss down thing, and always slides across it.
Yeah, and she's thick, so she probably good at curling. I mean, I'm just saying. Look, it's an Olympic sport version of a game that I play in a bar when drunk. I mean, how do you get better than that? And I can go pro in that. Like, it doesn't get better than that.
See, this is where we're seeing the different sides to it. We've got the color analyst that's going like, okay, curling. This is the way I'm going, and that like the math analyst is over here like, well, I guess I would send Winston and probably send him for the high jump. That seems like that would be a pretty good way to go. Like I'm all thinking about how to use their abilities in the most proper way to do it, and you're like, let's beam this up. I like how neither one of us put Tracer in a racing match for whatever reason, because that's just like too blatantly obvious.
Oh, I mean, Usain Bolt would kick her butt anyway. It doesn't matter.
Let's see. Okay, so we got what's chat got going on? We got Tukaname that's saying Lucio in the 100-meter dash. That's pretty solid. Oh, Sandman me, Roadhog diving. Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty strong.
That's pretty solid. Pretty solid. Reinhardt in wrestling, Felzarn. I see you. By the way, good playing yesterday on Minutemen. Felzarn. All right, so. Gosh.
So why don't we do? Who do you think would win in a wrestling match between Reinhardt and Roadhog?
Dude, you can't fight the manliness that is Reinhardt. I mean, he would just throw on some David Hasselhoff and then be suplexing the world. I mean,
this may be the first time I actually 100% agree with you. Reinhardt over everything. Sorry, Roadhog.
Reinhardt is the best hero in the game, hands down. He's got the best skins. He's got the best lines. I could listen to catchphrase over and over and over again.
Hey, whenever we play, you actually do get to hear that over and over again.
I've never heard you spam that ever.
What?
Yeah.
Today I learned that you mute me whenever we play.
Maybe it's for the best. I mean, it's not like we're not in the Overwatch.
Oh, I guarantee you it's for the best. It's all right. So Hollywood.
We'll get back on it. Sorry, we went on a big tangent. For everybody that doesn't know, we're having a little bit of an issue with one of the players, so that's why you're getting to see us for a little bit longer than you normally do. We get to entertain you with all of our Roadhog diving and I don't know, shuffleboard shenanigans. That's really hard to say. Shuffleboard shenanigans. Wow.
Shuffleboard. It's curling, man. Curling.
Dude, like you kept saying combobulated whenever we were talking about discombobulated, and we were talking about combobulous.
Discombobulated Michaels.
I was like, no.
All types of off.
All right, so.
It might be throwing me off, too. I don't know.
Twitch chat, you're failing us. I haven't seen anything else, so no, nothing after those. We're going to have to go run over to break now. You failed us. Next time when we get you involved, give us some more stuff. All right, so we're going to be heading over to break.
Thanks, Twitch chat.
See you guys in just a second.
Good evening again, Twitch viewers, ladies and gentlemen, whatever kind of Twitch viewer you are. My name is Aaron LOL, and I am joined here by Arms Race tonight. We are bringing you the competitive Overwatch League Open Tournament. This is the 8th edition of this tournament this Friday night, and we are spawned with Team Snow versus Team Gecko Fox. And the heroes are 2 seconds away from spawning on Hollywood right now.
Yeah, this is our second time visiting Hollywood, but excitingly enough, it is not our second time going to Hollywood with either of these teams. So we're seeing a nice fresh matchup here, even though it's on a familiar map. On the blue side here, we have Team of Snow with Manofsnow on Zarya, Cheets on Lucio, Metaphour on Zenyatta, Sinatraa going to be living it up on the McCree, Sherlockey on the Reaper, and Obasill on Reinhardt.
And the red team you guys just saw a minute ago will be spawning here with a very standard looking lineup with a Tracer in it actually as one of their DPS choices. Interestingly enough, we have a Junkrat pick as well, so we'll see if that's swapped. We have very standard double support layout looking for both teams so far. Lucio and Zenyatta both ready to spawn here in Hollywood as the timer counts down to the doors opening.
Yeah, so heading right out the gate here, the one difference between the last time we saw Hollywood is that both the attacking teams ran a Reinhardt when they first approached this first point here. Instead, we're going to see a Winston coming out, and he's going to jump in pretty much solo. The team goes to back him up, and it looks like Phaze on the Lucio is off sides here.
Yeah, Lucio, a little overextended there. A little bit too much fun wall riding. I want to point out Desro has been playing a lot of Winston tonight and knows when to get aggressive, so I'm really trusting Desro to be the kind of tank carry along with his other DPS tank in the form of Zarya here for the red team, Team Gecko Fox. They're going to recollect and decide whether they're going to push through security or the main choke here. And it looks like Desro is jumping right into the fight as his Tracer is engaging, letting the rest of his team come in undamaged. Zarya, Midnight from the red team doing a lot of damage. Desro still putting out lots of damage as well. Desro gets to the point of forcing the blue team's sound barrier, trying to let Spirit go wild here as the Torpnus Steel from Midnight comes down. No real big success from that Graviton Surge, but the red team is still on the point fragging at the moment. And with this Transcendence coming down for the red team as well, Gecko Fox has a decent point of taking this point.
Yeah, we actually saw a cycle of spawns occur in the process of this push. So Xretzi getting caught out by Metaphour and taken down, but able to make it back on that Tracer with those dashes, and ends up picking up a triple kill right towards the end there, earning his team this point secure. And that's going to be a pretty swift secure on the first point, and we'll now be heading into the western set of Hollywood here. And Gecko Fox with a hefty amount of ultimates on their side. Team of Snow opting for the rooftops, trying to get an upper vantage point so they can start getting those ultimates of their own.
Desro and the Genji for the red team, Gecko Fox, have been on the roof for a while. Desro's going to go down, and it looks like the whole blue team, Team of Snow, is going to be dominating the rooftops. They are holding this position. Their Reaper's kind of doing his own thing, which is very typical of that class. But it looks like Team of Snow very content on being very patient on the bank right now.
Yeah, Sherlockey is waiting on its Death Blossom, and I wouldn't be surprised if as soon as he gets it, that team decides to engage, although they may be forced to go a little early as Desro opts for the rooftop.
Yeah, we do have a forced engagement. Basically from a Earth Shatter coming out from what looks to be the blue team. This triggered the Primal Rage from Desro, and Spirit along with Desro really staying all over the enemy classes of the blue team is really going to make that team fight look pretty good there. A lot of people alive for the red team chasing down the remainders of the blue team right now. Team Snow being pushed back to the next payload checkpoint.
Yeah, Desro making the first engage there, but it was really Obasill with his Earth Shatter that was having the most impact.
We see a Transcendence coming down, forcing a fight here. The blue team really forced that Transcendence out, though, and that Transcendence from Locke, not really the best of choice. He really only had Zarya with him, and with the tank alone, even in the form of Zarya, not going to be able to fight that many people of the blue team.
Yeah, Locke just going to be forced to vroom back to the rest of his team with that movement speed buff. And they're going to have to regroup here. A lot of DPS ultimates on the side of Team Snow. Desro jumping in once again, but here comes the self-destruct. It isn't going to pick up anybody, but it is going to zone off the attacking team for a short period of time. Xretzi in the back there, trying to do his best. Spirit going to pick up 3. Xretzi following close behind, and now they've pushed the defending team all the way back into the studio, and surely the payload will reach that checkpoint soon afterwards.
Spirit is still picking up kills using Xretzi as his DPS buddy, kind of hanging out together, focusing on the same targets for the most part. Want to point out, Retzi's done a really good job of playing Tracer how you should. You either go in and accomplish something and die, or you go in, accomplish something and live. And Retzi's done a great job of picking up 3 kills. People with low health, people that are unexpecting. Retzi doing a very good job securing damage and staying alive. Sherlockey in a very bad position right now, being chased away by Zarya, trying to catch up with his team.
And the upside of that chaos, the gigantic fray that burst out in the studio while the payload was reaching the checkpoint, is that now Gecko Fox has all their ultimates. Lucy going to drop the sound barrier. Earthshatter comes from the defending side, but it isn't going to pick up much. Sinatraa gets 2 with his Deadeye. Locke trying to keep his team alive with the Transcendence, but Obasill's coming in fast, swinging his hammer, trying to get as many kills as he can. Desro throws down the Primal Rage to knock some of the defenders around, but it's not going to be enough as Sinatraa picks up a few more kills.
Really looks like
ultimate there.
Yeah, really looks like the decision to engage on the cart here from Team of Snow was the right decision. They're sitting at a small ultimate disadvantage, but the timing of when they came in, really, when the payload is at this point in the map, it's very hard to attack into, very hard to engage into properly. We have a forced engagement from Winston here with a very nice Pulse Bomb coming down from Xretzi. As that Pulse Bomb comes down, Sherlockey spends Death Blossom. The frags are pretty even right now, but the potent combination of 2 tanks hanging out with the Genji is resulting in a high amount of frags from the red team. Sherlockey does their best and picks up a lot of frags, but again, 2 tanks hanging out with the Genji tends to be really hard to stop.
Yeah, Sherlockey doing his best to take out as many people as possible, but he just can't compete with a Graviton Surge and a Pulse Bomb simultaneously. Xretzi going to continue to pick up some kills here, and it looks like he's actually going to secure 3 points for his team. Gecko Fox will take 3 points in this first attack.
You know, Gecko Fox was the team that we watched recently, the most recent match that was on the stream. And we said a few times that on that King's Row map, Gecko Fox versus their opponents, there was a lot of engaging. Very, very short amounts of time of positioning and posturing. A lot of forced engagements very fast. And this game kind of seemed to play at a semi-similar pace. I'm starting to think that this red team here, Team Gecko Fox, just really knows when to play aggressive, which is generally all the time, because they either go in, die, or they go in and win the fight. So I'm really liking the just snap decision-making of Gecko Fox. Very, very quick decisions to engage in team fight.
Yeah, when you're playing competitive games like this, aggression is always the right first phase. And then if you end up losing several team fights in a row, maybe you want to slow down, figure out a different approach. But Gecko Fox haven't really had to do that. And they're just attacking time and time again and coming up big. It's working out really well for them. Unfortunately, they are on the defending side now, so aggression isn't always going to be the right path. Certainly less often than it is the right path when you're on attack.
Yep, just like holding a bomb site in Counter-Strike, you can use aggression and positioning. If you get picks first, you know, play less aggressive. If you're trying to force picks, maybe play more aggressive. So we're going to see what an aggressive team like Gecko Fox looks like on defense. Generally, now that the attacking has been done by Gecko Fox, we're going to see their true show of skill as they are at the quote-unquote disadvantage of defending. We're about 5 seconds away from spawning on the second push for Hollywood. Team Blue on the attack, Team of Snow versus Team Gecko Fox in the red defending. I like this Zarya spam, by the way.
Yeah. Speaking of defending aggression, Xretzi holding a very, very aggressive position, but it looks like he was just kind of scouting picks as he is going to blink backwards. Now he's going to kind of 1v1 versus Sherlockey on the Genji. And it looks like the entire defending team's going to approach from the rear here.
Yeah, taking the alleyway as their choice of engagement. We're waiting for an amp it up from Lucio. Instead of waiting on a speed boost, though, Sherlockey and Obasill are going to press the issue. I like that Obasill is staying with Manofsnow. the Zarya and the Reinhardt are trying to stay together. Cheets doing a very good job staying alive while discorded. Looks like the red team's finally going to kind of pile up, though. Now that both of the DPS classes are hanging out with the Reinhardt in Desro, the red team Gecko Fox is going to have a very easy point cleanup here so far.
Yeah, Spirit and Xretzi really having incredible impact with their kills, picking up kill after kill while the attacking team is trying to focus down their tanks. And they drop their guard for a second just to secure a kill on a tank, and they end up losing a couple team members in the process. It's really unfortunate. They are going to try and approach from the main entrance here. Obasill actually going to connect a charge onto Desro, but he is going to get taken down as Desro is shielded by the barrier. Sound barrier comes out. Desro manages to pick up Sherlockey before he can have any impact with his Dragon Blade.
Yeah, really glad you picked that up there. Desro literally countered an ultimate with an ultimate, but Genji, you know, being talked about a lot by competitive players and by players that play Overwatch relatively often. Dragon Blade known for, you know, having the potential to wipe out a lot of characters, so Desro deciding to spend his ultimate to trade and guarantee a Genji kill. Very, very good choice there. Team Blue's going to really need to gather up for some sort of strong push. We have an ultimate advantage for the blue team, and a sound barrier is popped in the name of Team Snow. The red team's Graviton Surge is having very little effect here. So far, it's gotten a pin onto a Zenyatta that did not actually do anything due to the Transcendent. The second Graviton Surge comes out for the blue team, and it looks like Team of Snow is actually in the lead in this fight. They've actually switched to a Tracer themselves, so we actually have a choice of Tracer over McCree on this Hollywood map.
Yeah, you know, and it's not too surprising with the amount of kills that they've been able to pick up, opting for that higher mobility so you can evade as much damage as possible, and it is going to secure them this first point here. That last battle, certainly a battle of the black holes, going Graviton Surge for Graviton Surge. And it's going to leave the majority of the players without ultimates here. Sherlockey's probably the closest. Going to try and get his Dragon Blade one more time and hopefully have a greater impact, not get caught out by an Earth Shatter again.
So Sinatraa actually made a switch to McCree off of Tracer. We do see a switch to D.Va, though, for Manofsnow instead of Zarya, and this is sheerly for the verticality. The blue team feels like they need some verticality to get on top of the bank. Sherlockey and Manofsnow holding down the top part of the bank for the blue team so far as they take the elevator all the way up. Blue team looking to posture here, maybe looking to drop down soon. I don't really see anything on their team that's, you know, engagement worthy. They don't have any ultimates to engage with, but maybe just slowly creeping up, speed boosting in, trying to get some damage in, putting Obasill in the face of their enemies. I'm waiting for an engagement here, Arms, because it looks like the blue team wants to fight, but they're not doing it yet.
Yeah, you know, Team of Snow is getting where they want to be, but I kind of have to question their tactics. They had so few people in the payload. Engagement's going to begin. Sherlockey going to pull out the Dragon Blade, but Sinatraa picks up a double kill. Desro is going to take out Sherlockey as Sinatraa just cleans it up.
You know, the Dragon Blade coming out from the blue team's Genji, Sherlockey, I want to point out the red team has done a great job of shutting down Dragon Blades in particular. Last team fight, it was Desro with an Earth Shatter. Stop Dragon Blading my team. This team fight, it was Xretzi using a flashbang. Get off of my team with your Dragon Blade. Very nice Dragon Blade denial twice in a row. That's a very big impact on team fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Gecko Fox gonna have the ultimate advantage for this fight. Sherlockey is in the mix one more time, trying to force the defenders back into the studio, and it's going to be successful. Gecko Fox opting not to contest for this second checkpoint, and instead secure their defenses within the studio itself.
This speed boost from the red team, super genius, if you didn't notice. I mean, they literally just cut two characters off. Phaze had the best time speed boost because we had two people overextended from the blue team, and they just got cut off very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Those two team members making the mistake of thinking that Gecko Fox was on the run when really their position is purely calculated. It's not that they're on the back foot whatsoever. It's just that this is where they choose to fight. They have tons of ultimates. This next team fight is going to be absolutely hectic as the ultimates stack up on both teams here.
Yeah, just as you said the word ultimate, 6 versus 6 ultimate. Who's going to force the fight as sound barrier on both sides comes down? Desro spends the Earth Shatter. D.Va spends her Self-Destruct. Self-Destruct is only a zoning tool, doesn't pick up any frag. We still have about an even frag ratio, 1 for 1 right now as this team fight continues. No other ultimates have been spent at the moment. Xretzi picking up a few frags here without having to spend an ultimate either. This is looking pretty good for the red team right now.
Yeah, you know, it's so funny how when you have so many ultimates and you end up just going 1 for 1 on both, how little impact actually all of those ultimates can have. And in the end, Gecko Fox not needing those ultimates for Xretzi to pick up that double kill and send the defenders scurrying backwards.
Yeah, staggering ultimates can be a very, very good thing to make up team skill difference as well. Staggering your ultimates really keeps you in the game. We have a lot of shield trading going on right now, but we have a forced engagement from the blue team. It's going to be a combination of Transcendence and Dragon Blade. However, a Deadeye comes out from Xretzi. Just as Xretzi Deadeyes, though, Obasill lays down an Earthshatter, smashing this McCree. Sherlockey and Obasill both doing heavy fragging. Just as the fragging started for the blue team, though. Cool play by Phaze, Arms Race. If you did not notice, Phaze went all the way by himself as Lucio to the cart just to keep himself safe in the team fight. Resulted in a very good team fight for the red team here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Spirit just wiping Team of Snow all over the floor with his Dragon Blade that particular time. Working out very well.
We're seeing some footsie.
Piling up quickly. There's the Earth Shatter. Spirit comes running in. Xretzi's going to pick up 1, but the team is certainly trying to get out of this. 3 more kills go down for the red team, and the numbers are certainly not in Team of Snow's favor. Spirit picks up another, and now Cheets forced all the way back to the spawn. Gonna end up respawning for
just
it
like
anyway.
you said, forced back to the spawn. This is where things get a little bit scary. How far can the red team push up? How much real estate can they take? There's only 1:30 left, so the blue team really needs to get some sort of successful push. They have a lot of real estate to make up right now, Arm.
Yeah, and the fact that Gecko Fox opted for this positioning so far back in the studio tells me they're comfortable being here. Obasill going to charge in on Desro. Sound Barrier going to follow through. Spirit rushes into the back line of the defenders with Dragon Blade and a Sound Barrier going. And Locke and Spirit are just going to clean up there with a Discord Orb going from target to target as Spirit just carved right through the attacking team.
Arms, there were 2 things that happened in that team fight, and after the second thing happened, the fight was decided. Blue team's Reinhardt pins red team's Reinhardt. As Desro lived through the pin, red team spends their sound barrier. Good game. After the sound barrier was spent, there were 4 frags picked up. We have a desperate Tormna steal here trying to pick up frag. Looks like Midnight and Xretzi, though, with that Graviton Surge, are going to pick up easy frag. This is really, really bad for Team of Snow right now. They have 1 more push left. Team of Snow sitting on a Dragon Blade and an Earth Shatter. That's a very potent combination, but if they don't get the combination off correctly, they're not going to be able to push this part to that trailer.
Yeah, they have about 1 push and maybe an overtime under their belt before they are out of this particular tournament. They need to send this into a sudden death. And so the use of these particular ultimates is crucial. Obasill throwing down the barrier, trying to advance forward with his team. The engage going to happen any moment now. There goes the Earth Shatters. Both teams get taken down, but Obasill picks up triple kill, taking full advantage of the launched prone positioning.
Arms, I'm almost in disbelief.
Yeah. It's just like you said, they needed to do this perfectly, and they do it almost as perfectly as you could ask for.
Oh man, I'm almost, I don't know what to say. I'm in disbelief. Really, I'm gonna blame it on Locke. Sorry to put you on blast, Locke, but the Transcendence came out super late. Had that Transcendence been down earlier for Team Gecko Fox, this would not be in overtime right now. We are still in overtime right now. There is a chance, but a very slim chance. Guys, we're going to another King of the Hill timebreaker due to the resilience of the blue team here. Team of Snow, props to them for tying this up, because Team Gecko Fox had, I'm going to say, 5 solid team fights in a row where they were undisputably the winner. We're talking 4-to-1 frag ratios here, Arms.
Yeah, and that really speaks a lot for Team of Snow, because it takes a really well put together team to hold their composure, you know, when the going gets tough. They were really in the clincher there, and they kept their heads, and Obasill got off a fantastic Earth Shatter. And we talked about it earlier, how much damage that Reinhardt hammer can put out. And he picked up 3 kills pretty much solo with that Earth Shatter. And the rest of his team didn't take too much damage, and they were able to follow through pretty quickly afterwards.
Oh man, I'm just excited because when you see, so we talked about how the kind of underdog team, they do something like tying this game, for instance. So they're really running kind of on a half adrenaline high, a confidence high at the moment. I have a feeling we're going to see something aggressive. I'm expecting double Winston again. Obviously not, this is one hero limit. We're playing competitive ranked mode rules. I'm expecting some really aggressive play, though, on this Ijong Tower map, just because both teams are playing aggressively. Both teams look great in their fight. And with that final push there from Team of Snow here in the blue, they're really showing that even if they are the underdog and if their skill rating in a competitive rank game was lower than the other teams, they're communicating well enough and they're coordinating attacks well enough to actually stay in this game against a team that looks like, in skill rating alone, is better than the blue team.
Yeah, absolutely. But, there's a lot to be said for the psychological advantage of having a good composure on your team. Being able to keep the morale high when the outlook is grim is a huge asset for any competitive team. And it might be something that they need to rely upon again as we move to Ijong Tower for our tiebreaker here.
If anybody here follows fighting games, Justin Wong is a very, very famous fighting game player with a very high success rate. People like to talk about the Wong factor, which is the never give up factor. And every now and then when you are put against the wall and your back is literally against the wall and it's do or die, sometimes when you start doing instead of dying, you almost level up. You suddenly become a better player because your back is against the wall. Sometimes, though, when your back is against the wall, even with the never give up, never die attitude, sometimes you just choke. Sometimes you do so well that you start to play bad 5 minutes later. And this little lobby break, this may be a non-huge competitive game. We're not playing for a $15,000 prize pot. But either way, when you have a comeback like that, you have a confidence boost, emotions really start to set in, and a little 5-minute break like this can either set somebody calm and set their nerves straight, or it can kind of rile them up a little bit. So I'm really going to be looking at how aggressively each team plays here and how good their fragging ability is.
Yeah, when I'm picturing the story of these teams in my head, I just like to imagine that somebody's giving some sports movie style pep talk as the clock counts down from 30 seconds that gets the whole team back on track.
Stuff like that's pretty common too. A lot of people that play online games of any sort, Dota, League of Legends, Counter-Strike, whatever it is, a lot of people that play team games try to get their teammates to communicate with them. So even when you're playing with random Dota players and you say, hey, mid laner, good job. Little stuff like that, the good jobs, keep it calm, be careful. Those can be words of encouragement. And instead of, when you're teammates with somebody, they're probably not going to take what you're saying offensively. So I actually am glad you brought that up because I really hope that sort of, little mental pep talk can actually help whoever out. For all we know, the red team may be the one panicky saying, oh, great, we're not the underdogs in this situation, and they're starting to catch up to us. Arms, we are loading into Ijong Tower right now. This is the King of the Hill tiebreaker. Really quick refresher for you guys. This is a best of one capture. First team, blue team or red team. Blue team being the Team of Snow, red team being Team Gecko Fox. Whoever gets the first 100% capture is going to be the winner of our previous map that we were just on, Hollywood, which means they will be advancing in the Cow Open number 8 tournament bracket. My name has been Aaron LOL. I'm joined by Arms Race tonight. We're going to be spawning here on our tiebreaker in Ijong Tower very soon, Twitch.
Yeah, we will be spawning onto the garden level of Ijong Tower. One of the riskier levels to start on. It has those high risk entry points. The entry points to the point itself. Either way, you're going to be crossing over bridges where there are precarious falls for you. And if you're not going to take the bridges, there are some jumps as well that it's unfortunate to get caught out at. And we saw a lot of that going on the last time we were here. A couple people falling off the map, some Winstons jumping over the walls and getting stuck right in the middle of entire teams.
Arms, I want you to take it away,
excited.
But I want to mention double Winston.
Yep, here it is. We knew it was coming.
This is how you play aggressive, ladies and gentlemen. Both Winstons jumping at each other right away. Look at that, 5 frags in 5 seconds. Even the support getting fragged. Red team all over the blue team's Winston. Looks like red team is at the frag advantage here. Blue team has a chance to recollect. The point is going to go to the red team, Gecko Fox here. That was literally immediate aggression. Arms Race, can you even break down what just happened?
So the one thing that I've been looking for the past, like the last time we were on this map and this time, is I've been noticing a pattern of whichever team's Winston falls first, because both Winstons are engaging simultaneously, but whichever one falls first, the team is soon to fall after.
I'm going to say...
actually going to be having an impact here, picking up a kill onto Phaze. He's still going to be making up the front line for his team, and there goes Desro. He's the first Winston to go down. And in perfect form, we have Team of Snow starting to reclaim this point.
Oh, and this could not be more exciting. Nobody wants a blowout, whether it's the Super Bowl or whether it's the Super Bowl of Overwatch. We have a reverse point capture in the favor of Team of Snow right now. Arms race, we have a Tracer, which is a very good Winston combo right now. Everybody is low on ultimates at the moment, except one Primal Rage, one Dragon Blade ready to go. Who's going to engage first? Looks like Desro wants to engage first. Obasill doing the same thing, jumping on squishies, trying to kill Genji. Winston on Winston action right now, and we have Obasill accidentally Desro killing himself.
Brutal. Desro throwing down the Primal Rage and then taking that rage with him into the pond. Not going to exact his rage onto anybody. However, it doesn't dissuade his team, and they're actually going to be able to reclaim this point.
Yeah, that makes that point push even more impressive, losing their Winston so quickly. But apparently the Winston did enough work and caused enough repositioning from the blue team to let his red team capture. So Gecko Fox is going to be pushed by the blue team right now. Zarya and Reaper are at the spearhead of this push. A good Torb steal comes down from the red team. A bad Pulse Spawn comes down, not connecting in this Death Blossom. Sinatraa and Sherlockey combined, the DPS classes for Team of Snow, completely carrying this team fight. I like the choice from Locke. Run us down. Why do people suicide like that, Arm?
Well, you know, a lot of times you just get really eager, especially when you have the Primal Rage. You get that extra jump pack ult going, and you just overstep your bounds a little bit. Maybe you take a knockback from a particular ability you weren't expecting, but here comes the next engagement.
Spirit starting things off. Yeah, Winston's versus Winston. Spirit starting off with this engagement with the Dragon Blade. Spirit finally goes down to the blue team Zenyatta, actually. Metaphour's done a really good job positioning himself. Every now and then he's alone right now, gets chased down by a Tracer. This is not going to result in a capture for the blue team, though. The red team has recaptured the point, and we're looking really, really close to a tie game here.
Yeah, it's extremely back and forth, and once you start getting around to the 70% mark, that's about the time where the next team to recapture it is going to ride that capture all the way to 99%. Here comes the Graviton Surge. It catches two team members. It's going to take down those two. That's going to leave a distinct numbers disadvantage as Desro rages on the back line here. Xretzi coming in, pick up a few kills on the outside. And the blue team forced all the way back.
I gotta shout out IvIidnight. IvIidnight has had the most consistent Zarya I've seen in the Cow Open today so far. We have a speed boosted engagement from the blue team. Just as that speed boost comes out, though, Lucio is booped by the enemy's Lucio. With the blue team's Lucio down, it's gonna be really hard to capture this point. Both a Dragon Blade and a Sound Barrier out from the red team. Red team swarming onto the point to recapture this. Looks like the red team's probably going to take this match, but there's a lot of overtime shenanigans happening right now. This Tracer is literally 1v5ing a team. Sinatraa goes down.
Yeah, that's when the Tracer pick needs to come up big, using that dash, this extra mobility. You can see each character, Metaphour on Zenyatta, the Lucio pick, the Tracer, each one utilizing their mobility ability to just keep that overtime procced. But the reality is, when you're rushing onto the point like that just to get the overtime, you never have the numbers you need to retake the point. And that means that we're going to have Gecko Fox take this match here.
So Gecko Fox putting on two impressive performances in a row for you guys on stream. Guys, we want to thank you for joining us here. We are the Competitive Overwatch League. We are a Discord community with around 10,000 people at peak on our server. Everything from low-level players getting into competitive Overwatch to pros like Papa Smurf, Ultimate Weapon, Rhinebot in our Discord server. We have many services for you guys to use. We bring you at least 2 tournament streams per week. Guys, my name has been Aaron LOL. I'm casting here with Arms Race tonight. It's been a pleasure, Arms Race. The games have been good tonight. We're going to go back to our analyst desk, guys, and we will be returning with what I believe will be the semifinals for the Cow League Open. Thanks for tuning in on Twitch, guys. We're going back to our desk.
And yes, Aaron, you are right. We are there. We are in semifinals time now. So we do have one quick thing before we get into that match. I know, Poro, we got tons of stuff to talk about, but you guys actually followed through. You guys were involved in the Matcherino stuff. Somebody's managed to rack up some points, and now it's time to give a shout out to somebody. Wingman 700 has used some of his points to get a shout out here. So I want to do you one better since you're our first one, Wingman 700. In addition to just shouting you out, I'm also going to say that I noticed that you guys played for Harambe's Bay that was inside the other side of this bracket. Great job on it. I know you guys just made it out. You guys got through, made it to the bye. You guys were in second round. So thanks, Wingman 700. Thanks for watching, and thanks for spending the points. There's your shout out, buddy.
Since we don't have Kane here today, I just want to say, Wingman, stay saucy.
Oh, God, I love that. I love that so much. Okay. So we've got that going on. One other thing related to the Matcherino is the fact that we're starting to build up a little bit of money there. Remember, at $200 is our next breakout, which is where you guys can be invited to be a guest on Calcast. So that's Calcast. It's a new thing that we've got going on that we're going to start up, and you guys should probably see within the next couple of days, which is where mainly we get a whole bunch of the community figures inside of Cal League together, and we're going to do a podcast for everybody. Mainly discussing anything that seems to be gathering interest. We could be discussing anything from maybe what's going on with the summer loot boxes and how people's opinion on it is on that, meta changes, team changes inside of esports, what we're seeing inside of Minutemen, what we're seeing inside of the full-on esports tournaments, mainly just whatever catches our fancy and anything random Overwatch we're going to be discussing. So remember, if we can get up to $200, you can use your points on that and come join us and be a special guest on the side of that. And get a talk with me and Poro, and Icon's going to be making an appearance as well, the guy that runs all of Cal League. So you got to ask all kinds of fun questions. So that said, that match. Oh, where do you want to start? I'll let you take it off.
Clearly, you don't want to let Gecko Fox get to King of the Hill. I think that in the last two games, that's what we've learned is that if you get down to that tiebreaker, if you get to Li Jiang, Gecko Fox seemingly has it figured out. At least on the garden. Is it the garden? The garden. Whichever one that they've done the last two times in a row. Between Midnight Zarya, and seriously, the Locke's Zenyatta has been amazing all night. I mean, yeah, there was the slip up there at the end of the last round where he wasn't able to get the Transcendence off in time. But for the most part, Locke's positioning has been absolutely amazing. His Discord orbs, his Harmony orbs have been on point. The Transcendences have been great. I mean, you just don't want to get this team on a King of the Hill match if you can help it. And well, I mean, it's been close a couple of times.
It's their team. It's the way that they play. With Gecko Fox, it's all aggro all the time. As Armstrong was saying, best defense is a phenomenal offense, and that's kind of what they're doing. You would see, like, whenever they were in round 2, whenever they were on defense, the studio phase, in my opinion, was just Spirit and Locke going to town. It was Spirit would jump in, and then Locke would come up behind him, put the Harmony orb on him, and then wherever Spirit was going, it was just Discord orb, Discord orb, Discord orb, Discord orb. There was even one point right before the studio where Spirit got this huge amount of kills. He went in as a Genji into 5 people with Discord orb on himself, without having the Harmony orb from his own Genji, with his own Zenyatta. That is some faith in your team that they're like, okay, I'm going to go in here first with the Discord on me with like this amount of health, but I know my team's got my back. And he lived. He made it through the whole thing. That says that this team knows how to do aggression and knows how to work together in aggression fashion.
And I think that's the biggest thing take home from Gecko Fox is that, you know, when it comes to being aggressive and having that aggressive play, it's one thing to just run in like a bunch of idiots and get in a fight or whatever, but it's another thing entirely to be coordinated with your aggression. right? So, like we were talking about with Locke and hitting the Harmony orbs on who needs it at the right time, hitting the Discord orbs, and the rest of the team following through and attacking that target that has the Discord orb on it. But not only just half the team going, but it's a complete commitment from the entire team to go in. If you try to do this kind of stuff in solo queue, it happens all the time. You charge in and you find yourself all by yourself, and you got 5 members of the rest of your team fighting the tracer that's just running around in the background. Meanwhile, you had the point. Where's the rest of my team? If I had a nickel for every time I say where the hell is my team, if I'm playing Overwatch, I would have just a ridiculous amount of nickels. But if I were playing, if I were queuing up with Gecko Fox, I feel like I would not be saying that nearly as much, because these guys commit to the push, they commit to the aggression, they all go in at the same time, and they're there for each other. And I think that's showing a lot in these victories that they're having.
I mean, you saw even whenever they were playing attack on the payload, they still ran Winston, they still ran Tracer, they still ran Genji. They were like, no, this is what we know. I mean, it is like they take the King of the Hill style of team that everybody expects, and then they play it in a payload map, which with that level of aggression, I mean, you got to work together. I mean, I do have to say that I think one of the unsung, like phrase already earlier in the cast, but unsung heroes of that last match on Gecko Fox is Phaze. Him on his Lucio was like the King of the Hill match. It just felt like he was in everything on that. The amount of boops that he got. I mean, he got so many important boops. He booped another Lucio off of a bridge in a boop duel at the start that helped carry over to the beginning. He got them to the point at the start. I mean, I've never seen a Lucio boop duel. I was like, oh, they just charged each other. It was like 2 bulls just like, and they met on the bridge, and you can see one of them just went, and the other one went like, wow, and flew off.
It's too much playing a lot of Lucio ball, right? And then and I agree with you that Lucio play has been amazing, but honestly, my heart goes out to Desro on that Reinhardt. I mean, he is just an absolute beast on that Reinhardt. I mean, he's living through things that he has no business living through. I mean, he's getting in that team. He's getting into the back lines of the team. Swing. I mean, his ults have been great. I mean, he's also getting the support from his Lucio and Zenyatta every time he goes in. But he's getting in there and he's getting things done, and I love it. I love watching a beastly Reinhardt, man. There's nothing better.
I have to admit, it's just there's something. I mean, we already spoke of our love affection for Reinhardt earlier, but there's just something.
I love Reinhardt.
Gratifying. It just feels cool when you play Reinhardt. You just swing like crazy and kill everybody. Now, I know we've been talking a lot about Gecko Fox and how amazing they are, but I mean, we do also have to admit that Sherlockey and Sinatraa with the DPS for Team Snow, they were doing Team Snow did a phenomenal job. I mean, keep in mind, we went to a tiebreaker that ran. So we went to a tiebreaker. We went all the way to overtime. We had a prolonged overtime. This was a very close match, and you saw that they started with a more tempered style at the start, and then just realized about halfway through it was like, no, we're going on the Tracer as well. We're coming in. Let's just fight to our heart's content, and it's just let's go killing again. That's the theme, or that's the theme of tonight. Apparently, you guys set it up for us. Let's go killing again, over and over and over again.
And and they were doing a great job with it too. And I think that I'm not one to call out, but I think the difference in these two teams was support play. Metaphour was there, but especially in that last push, Metaphour just ended up dying a lot. I'm not sure if it was positioning or if it was just the fact that Gecko Fox was making a concerted effort to kill him as quickly as possible. Spirit getting back there and with the Genji and just going to town on him. But it just seemed that the supports for Team Snow were just dead a lot more often than the ones from Gecko Fox. And sometimes it really is that easy.
It's hard to we all play support a lot. And let's be honest, when you're playing against a Tracer, Winston, Genji with his Zenyatta healing and Discord orbs from everywhere, I don't even know how many times I saw just Team Snow come around in Lucio or Zenyatta, and all of a sudden it was like instantly discorded, and then it was like 3 people was like, "Pah!" and it was just dead. Like you just see them just come in and dead support. And it's not like this. It's not like it's the support's fault. The support has to get in there. And it's not like it's necessarily the team's fault, like Team Snow. It's just when you're playing with that level of aggression, sometimes you just have to stop, regroup entirely, let them go. Okay, they're going to push the payload, or we're going to lose this amount of time when we're attacking. Regroup and go. Okay, we need to move as a death ball together, so that way they can't jump on us one at a time. Because that seems to be Gecko Fox's primary strategy of just let's go in, let's murder.
Right, and I think another thing that's helping out a lot is the flanking that they're getting from in Gecko Fox is not only managing to get in there and cause problems and cause issues and be disruptive, but they're managing to get out and stay alive for a long period of time. You know, it's not like these flankers that end up going in and get caught within the first half a second, you know, get Discord orbed and get slaughtered, but they're being aggressive on defense, which is really tough to do, and it requires a lot of individual skill, but they're actually being able to pull it off.
I totally agree. And there's something we should probably mention at this point. We haven't been talking as much since we're now in the semifinals. It's time to talk about the other side of the bracket that we haven't seen so much. At this point right now, we have, naturally, we just got done watching Gecko Fox and Team Snow, so we're moving into Gecko Fox, and they're going to be playing whoever wins between Dank Maymays, and D.VA 1 Bad Guys 0. So we're waiting on that to finalize right now.
Well, it looks like that result's actually already been decided, and D.VA 1 Bad Guys 0 has actually won, and they're going to be taking on Gecko Fox in the semis. Meanwhile, on the others, you can go ahead. Hey, I'm going to sneak in and finally steal this away from you. That's my shining glory. On the other side of the bracket, we have the Ecks Dees and Something Original in the semifinals, and the Ecks Dees took that one 2-0. So the Ecks Dees will be making it to our grand final, while the Something Original will be in the third place match. And now this next match between Gecko Fox and D.VA 1 Bad Guys 0 will determine who will face the Ecks Dees in our grand final.
Mm-hmm. All right, so at the direct time, we're going into game. Looks like we're going to be headed into King's Row. So we're going to be passing it over to the casters now. Aaron and Arms Race, take it away, you guys. Have fun.
Hello, once again, Twitch viewers. Thank you for joining us here. We are the Competitive Overwatch League, a community spawned out of a subreddit with a huge Discord server. My name is Aaron LOL, and I am joined by Arms Race tonight. We're going to be spawning here on King's Row very shortly, and this is our third match in a row on stream following the Gecko Fox team. They've had a pretty strong showing, even though they finally met some opponents of similar skill level here, Arms.
Yep, absolutely. This will be the final semifinal for today, and so, as is customary, this semifinal will be a best of 3. We're going to be starting off on King's Row, and then we will play on Dorado, and depending on how things go, we may even see some Hollywood. So we'll be running the full gambit of payload maps. All of the common competitive payload maps will be featured if we end up going all the way to a tiebreaker.
I like going to King's Row. One of the Competitive Overwatch League casters likes to call King's Row the Dust 2 of Overwatch. The map everybody knows, the map everybody has played, the map nobody doesn't want to go to usually. We have a few troll picks here from the red team, who will be the attacking team. Again, guys, this is Team D.VA 1 Bad Guys 0 in blue versus Team Gecko Fox in red here again tonight. We're about a second away from spawning, Arms.
Yeah, why don't we should agree now. Why don't we'll just call D.VA 1
Team
Bad
D.VA.
Guys 0 the Divas.
The Divas! Alright,
Yeah.
They're getting called the Divas tonight. I like the decision. We have fragging going on the point already. Desro playing aggressive again. Really, I trust Desro. I want Desro to play Winston with me in Overwatch. Desro's doing a really good job chasing down this D.VA, but he's got to keep an eye out on this health as he's about to engage both the support character and a squishy. Desro being backed up by his Genji Spirit. We have 3 of the red team all the way in the streets phase, and A has not even been captured yet. Gecko Fox is showing they know how to take real estate away from their opponent's arm.
Yeah, and the guys on the analyst desks brought it up, but Spirit and Locke, their combo of Genji and Zenyatta, doing a great job of picking off people. They spend so much time being focused on the Genji in their face that Locke's able to get off a few shots of his own from a distance. And I think it's a really good combination, definitely noticing it a bit more since they pointed it out. We are going to be heading into the streets phase now.
I'm going to take us...
be exchanged from around the corner.
Take us back in history when Genji used to, or anybody, when Zenyatta's balls were just beyond line of sight. We have a Transcendence coming down from the blue team in a bit of a panic here. The blue team is just getting backed up severely. Gecko Fox is doing a very dominant push phase in the streets phase of Kings Row right now. The reason I mentioned this is, like you said, Locke and Spirit are doing very well together, and it goes to show you that even though Zenyatta balls only stay on line of sight now, you can still make the Genji healing orb composition work, even though it's not as strong as it used to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a little bit too extreme when the Genji could just go wherever he wanted and keep that Harmony Orb on him. And even with the changes, Gecko Fox having no trouble at all getting these kills. Ultimates starting to stack up on their side, and they really haven't had to use any of them in combination.
We should see a pretty good
final point here.
Yeah, we should see a good fight at this final point. We have 3 to 4 ultimates ready for each team. Deadeye for the red team by the Reinhardt shield. Deadeye for the blue team by the Reinhardt shield. Jesus picks up a frag or two and gets killed by Spirit right away. Both of the Reinhardt swinging hammer. A successful Earthshatter is going to pin this Zenyatta, but this Zenyatta will not die due to his Transcendence. He is invulnerable. Blue team now has invulnerable Zenyatta. Does not suffer to the Earthshatter. Spirit picking up crazy amount of kills. Arms Race says, oh my goodness, as he watches this Genji slaughter the enemy team. Arms Race, yeah, if this was Stopwatch, that would be what we call a dominant show.
Yeah, absolute brutality. Desro catching out 3 with his Earthshatter, and while they're knocked prone, Spirit just swipes a Dragon Blade through all 3 of them, and then a couple more after. Really, really decisive attack here coming out from Gecko Fox, and yeah, definitely the Divas are glad it's not Stopwatch. And we'll see what they bring to the table when it's their turn to attack.
So you mentioned our desk talking about Team Gecko Fox earlier. One thing our desk said, the support play from Phaze, the support play from Locke, both looking very good. I want to bring up, if you guys take a look at the kill feed, every time you see the red team, which has been Gecko Fox consistently in the past 3 matches, take a look at the red kill feed, because Phaze is almost picking up an elimination / frag himself every single team fight. And to top this off, it's not that their Lucio is playing super aggressive. It's that their Lucio is positioning himself so well that during team fights, he's able to lay in damage. He's able to get an elimination and still live through the whole thing. So again, I mean, I don't want to say anybody's carrying Team Gecko Fox because they're all playing their positions so well. It makes everybody look like they're carrying.
Yeah, everybody's contributing, and that's one of the upsides of running healers such as Lucio and Zenyatta, because they are both heroes that can heal their team while also putting out damage, as opposed to if you think of Mercy having to keep that beam out and then switch off to a pistol if she wants to contribute any damage solo. Whereas if you have somebody on your team who has to play support, but they can actually do some pretty good aiming, having them on a Lucio able to apply a decent amount of damage from a distance is definitely an advantage.
All right, we're going to be spawning here on Kings Row, both teams spawning. I'm going to take us through the footsies phase here. We see the blue team pushing out. This is Team Divas. We see the red team just holding steadfast on point A. Speed boost coming down. Take us away, Arms. They're already on point A.
Yeah, Vero jumps right onto the point, but Desro does not hesitate and charges him right into the wall. The Divas have to recognize the number disadvantage as they start going back to the footsies phase. However, ConnorJ in the back there does manage to take out Xretzi, who is a huge fragger on the side of Gecko Fox. Oh wait, no, that's the opposite. He actually goes down to Xretzi's. Well, that makes a lot of sense considering he's such a huge fragger. And the footsies continues.
Xretzi has just looked good at every hit scan character Xretzi has been playing. Haven't really seen Xretzi play anything but hit scan characters, but there's nothing wrong with being a specialist. Speaking of specialists, Desro making his tank work look very good. Desro swinging his hammer again, really helping Xretzi pick up frag. It seems like the DPS classes and the tank classes on Team Gecko Fox do what they're supposed to in they frag together. So the tanks are not only dealing damage when they can, but they're also doing their job of tanking. And when you travel alone as a DPS class, you go high risk, high reward. When you travel with a tank on your team as a DPS class, you're basically taking most of the risk out and just laying in what damage you can. So I really like the decision making of the tanks and the DPS staying together here. We're posturing for a team fight.
The members of Gecko Fox know that it's fun to kill, but it's even more fun to kill with friends. Xretzi gonna pick up a double kill here, and that's going to put the D.Vas on the back foot once again. Definitely unfortunate for them, considering how quickly they were forced off of this point when they were defending. That's a time that you really want to start matching up.
So I think
if you're going to try and take it all the way to the end here, which is what they have to do.
I think the D.Vas are playing too much around the statue. I haven't seen them push the hotel. I haven't seen them push the back alley stairs either. The red team decides they're fighting right now. Spirit gets the Zarya bubble. Spirit relays down a Death Blossom. A lot of damage from Spirit, but no frags yet. 2 frags finally in the name of Gecko Fox. This D.Va from Team D.Vas is all by herself. She's taken out of her mech suit. Desro is so aggressively positioned. How can you deal with Zarya, Reinhardt Shield, and McCree at the same time? The answer is you can't unless you have more than they do.
Yeah, and Aaron, I think you were really onto something when you were talking about how you wanted to see the D.Vas take a different direction. They've always been sending one member in a different direction. Maybe ConnorJ will take up some type of flank, but I think they might have a better advantage if they do some type of pincer movement around the hotel. Unfortunately, they never got the opportunity because they always get engaged on pretty quickly. However, they make the engagement this time. Wag's going to get an Earth Shatter, going to pick up 2.
And we have double support ultimate being spent from the blue team. This has to work, Arm.
Yeah, they don't have anything to fall back on if it doesn't, but it does work out great for them. Vero's self-destruct's going to keep everybody off of this point, and they are going to finally catch it with only 50 seconds to spare. It wasn't the easiest of captures, but they will finally secure the payload, and now they just have to keep it moving.
So as we have mentioned, 2 support ultimates going down in the name of the Team D.Vas. They are down support ultimate. We are almost at 5 ultimates for Team Red, Team Gecko Fox. Team Gecko Fox is probably going to engage here once the blue team pushes into the streets phase. We're going to wait for you to take that away. We're just really looking at a lot of positioning. Nobody's pushing an abnormal attack path. Everybody is positioned in the mid of the streets phase right now. And here's the speed boost for an engagement.
Waiting for them to get in. There goes Spirit with the Death Blossom, but there's a lot of negation there. The defense matrix and the barrier are going to keep most of the team protected, as YZX is going to take out Spirit. Numbers advantage on the side of the D.Vas now as they push forward. Payload advances around the corner. In goes ConnorJ, but Locke throwing down the Transcendence to negate that Dragon Blade. Gecko Fox finally starting to pick up kills. They lock down 4. And that's going to set the D.Vas back a ways. Actually, get pretty much an entire team wipe there as Midnight picks off Shu with the particle bombs from a distance.
Yeah, that was basically like a staggered team wipe. 2 members almost escaped that team fight in the street phase. Team Gecko Fox spending most of their ultimates, though, getting the ultimate disadvantage taken away for them. We have a Transcendence, and we have a Sound Barrier ready for the blue team. Expect a team fight to happen on this cart right about now, Arm.
Yeah, Gecko Fox showing such great team cohesion, not losing their composure even after they lose Spirit. In come the D.Vas one more time, landing a charge, but Desro takes out Jesus. Desro all the way in the back trying to take out ConnorJ, but ConnorJ is doing work on the back line in the meantime. It's going to end up souling out Phaze in the back there. However, YZX picking up a whole bunch of kills on the point with the rest of his team. And
turns
with
out
that wipe, they're going to make it all the way to this checkpoint, it looks like.
Yeah, doing that payload salsa, staying on the cart as the attacker's getting free health from the cart and just dancing around trying to frag to your best of your ability is going to do the trick after that team fight in the streets phase. We have very normal looking posturing here, and I'm looking for somebody to go for the high ground. ConnorJ is going to battle with Spirit right now for the high ground. Very bad teleport from Jesus trying to help his Genji out, securing the high ground. We're going to have a forced engagement based on a Zarya bubble shielding Desro. Does the Zarya from Team Red. This lets Spirit pick up a ton of easy kills with his Death Blossom.
Yeah, this is just more evidence that Gecko Fox is on the same page. As soon as they heard that Jesus had gone down, they knew they had the numbers advantage. They all just pulled the trigger at the same time and rushed forward.
That was only one ultimate spent from the red team as well. Gecko Fox doing very good staggering their ultimates, trying to keep their team fights ready at any moment. We have another forced red speed boost, and it's going to be in the form of a Torvna Steel and a Earth Shatter for the red team. This is a red team fight, no problem. ConnorJ is left alone with Shu, the Zenyatta from Team Blue. Zenyatta and Genji cannot fight 2 versus 5. They are going to go down. Arms, this is looking very heavily Gecko favored again.
Yep, absolutely. This is one of those moments where you really wish that a defense matrix could counter an Earth Shatter, as Desro managed to pick up so many team members, lie them flat onto the ground, and then they get caught in that Graviton Surge. Xretzi comes out with the Deadeye here. They gotta get Wags' barrier down. They aren't gonna be able to do it, and it looks like he'll cancel it out. ConnorJ rushes forward to pick up a kill onto Midnight. Here's the numbers advantage for the Divas. ConnorJ gets into the back line. Desro going to be taken out. And now the DPS characters rushing forward onto the Divas here.
Oh goodness, this is getting out of control quick. Yeah, very, very out of control, very quick. The blue team, Team Divas, looking very dominant. And like you said, Arms, all they really did is push their DPS classes past the cart, kind of zoning out Gecko Fox. Team Gecko Fox is spending everything they have right now. Transcendence going down for Gecko Fox. Spirit spends Death Blossom for Gecko Fox. Does not matter though. Too many blue team members on the cart. This should result in a capture in the next few seconds for us, but we have a lot of deaths spawning staggered right now.
Yeah, Xretzi doing a really great job of running around the payload on Tracer there, trying to keep it contested, but it's so close to the end there. Spirit hops on to finally contest. There's just a few members on it. If they can stay alive long enough for the team to rejoin them, they might be able to do it, but it's just too many people and the payload is just too close. And the Divas will secure 3 points, and it looks like we're going to be going to a sudden death decider.
Yep, we are going to, again, run a competitive Overwatch League King of the Hill tiebreaker. We have the blue team, Divas, map choice. They are going to pick a King of the Hill map. Twitch viewers, we are going to a best of 1 King of the Hill map. What we mean by best of 1 is not best of 1 King of the Hill map, best of 1 capture. First team to capture 100% will be the victor of King's Row, meaning they will be up 1-0 in the semifinals of the competitive Overwatch League Open. We're going to hang out in the lobby for just a second while we let the Divas pick their map, Arm.
Yeah, and while the Divas are picking, there was something that I wanted to talk about that last particular fight. We saw time and time again that the Gecko Fox could lose team members and still put up a resounding defense. And that happened time and time again when they lost Spirit in the back line. They got a couple of picks and still managed to hold on. However, the one time that they lost to Midnight, everything fell apart. And I think that's really interesting because we haven't been talking about Midnight too much, but those Zarya barriers are absolutely invaluable. And the Graviton Surge catching out teams that think they're about to go on in the advance. And I think really that last fight there might have been evidence that Midnight is the catalyst for Gecko Fox's success.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to catch back up in the team chat here. We just did have a team color change for you guys, just so you know. So the blue team spawning this time is going to be Team Gecko Fox. The Diva team now is in red. Since we have so much airtime, too, we can finally say their full name. So, guys, yeah. Team Red is Diva 1, Bad Guys 0, Winky Face.
Yeah, a very popular voice line to be spammed in lobbies everywhere as we wait for games to begin. And then on the other side, we're going to have Team Gecko Fox. And it looks like we're going to be going back to Lijiang Tower. Once again, it's a very, very popular King of the Hill decider map. I wonder if we'll be going to the garden again. That would be... that'd be quite the pattern.
You know, I personally like not the one we're spawning on, whatever the name of the one is, the control point, just the center.
Yeah, control center.
One. Just because you see Lucio's wall ride, and it's like, what do? Do you bother shooting the Lucio down if you're McCree? Do you bother fighting the enemy team? Like, it brings a really interesting support dynamic to that map because, you know, of I don't know what you want to call it. It's not quite a glitch. It's meant to be there, but it's a very interesting map dynamic for Lucio, and it's very easy to abuse.
Yeah, we are going to be on the night market, which definitely has some other opportunities for Lucio abuse. You know, you have that whole side of the map that Lucio can send people flying off of.
Yeah, Lucio boops, very common in King of the Hill. Lucio seems to be the King of the Hill when it comes to support. We're still going to see double support from both teams, most likely. Folks, we are in the competitive Overwatch League Open. This is the tiebreaker for the first map of King's Row between Team Gecko Fox in blue and Team Divas 1, Bad Guy 0 in red here on Lijiang Tower.
And once again, just to remind you of the teams, we do have Gecko Fox on the blue side and the Divas, Diva 1, Bad Guy 0, Winky Face on the red side. Desro's going to be the first to go down, and ConnorJ is going to pick up a kill onto the Tracer. That numbers disadvantage alone is, I think, enough to send Gecko Fox backwards. Yep, Locke and Phaze going to try and keep their lives as they wait for their team to respawn. The Divas will pick up this capture, but there's sure to be an emphatic push coming out of Gecko Fox as they reapproach here.
I think what makes good teams on this garden center of Lijiang Tower is engaging in the right places. There's a lot of open areas to engage in this map, like on the point. The blue team is forcing an issue on the point right now. Desro trying to find somebody to electrocute right now. Spirit traveling with Tracer and Desro right now, trying to find people to eliminate. This blue team push was very, very, very well structured. Super organized play from the Tracer and the Genji, picking up the frags when their Winston was already doing damage to said characters.
Yeah, Winston drawing the focus of the Divas, the Tesla cannon. They're trying to run away from it. Meanwhile, the entire time, Xretzi and Spirit are putting out the damage and securing all the kills that Gecko Fox needs.
This is a great example of, again, of choosing where to engage on this map. The smaller areas tend to be the areas that teams prefer to engage in, so you can use your Zarya AoE damage, use your Winston AoE-esque damage, where you can hit multiple people by only clicking one. And they're going to choose to engage relatively close to the spawn of the red team here, so Gecko Fox has a lot of real estate to work with at the moment.
Yeah, you know, usually you don't want to push up too far after a team secures the point, but there's just so much damage to be dealt when you have a choke point that small. The Divas definitely learned their lesson. They're going to approach from the top this time. Jesus goes down with the Death Blossom, going to pick up 2 before the Transcendence. Graviton Surge picks up 3. Transcendence going to negate any damage that comes through with it as Diva throws down the self-destruct, and she picks up 2.
That was very well needed arms race. We saw Transcendence being popped right before the sound barrier, I believe. Either way, though, red team spends both of their support ultimates to take this point, so this was not necessarily a desperation push, but they really spent most of their load to take the point right now, so we need a strong secure from them.
Yeah, Gecko Fox coming back in with lots of ultimates going. Dragon Blade going to be wreaking havoc on the back line as the front line of Gecko Fox gets caught in a Graviton Surge of their own. However, it's not going to matter. Spirit just picks up too many kills in the meantime, and Gecko Fox are going to reclaim this point.
Oh man, these King of the Hill matches, between the calibers of these high-tier amateur teams, I would call them, they're so closely matched that it's literally capture, 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 capture. I mean, arms race, I believe this is the 4th or 5th capture we've seen on this map alone.
Yeah, it's been extremely back and forth, usually traveling with the tide of ultimates, although there has been a few decent outplay moments. Desro going to blow the Primal Rage, knocking the whole team around out in this courtyard here.
Again,
Spirit
the play from
Midnight to the back line.
Yeah, I feel like Midnight has been doing a good job of actually keeping backline characters away from most of the team. Since Desro is kind of playing the role of the aggressive tank, it seems like Midnight has become a little bit more passive of the Zarya, more focused on shielding her teammates, more focused on shielding herself to build her damage. I mean, I think that's going to be it for the game here. Midnight doing a little bit of teabagging on the enemy Lucio to show their dominance. This means the blue team, in this case, which was Gecko Fox, is going to take the first map that we just played before this King of the Hill, making them the victors of King's Row. This is the competitive Overwatch Open number 8, with Aaron LOL casting along with Arms Race here. We are 1-0 right now in the favor of Team Gecko Fox in our semifinal.
Yep, and so our semifinal is a best of 3, so we're going to be heading to Dorado next. And if D.Va 1 Bad Guy 0 manages to take Dorado, we may even head to Hollywood afterwards. So we got a full world tour lined up for you guys. I hope you're enjoying it. We'll get switched over to Dorado really quickly here. And now Dorado is our full payload map. And it can prove pretty difficult for some teams. A lot of times you end up either holding completely beyond the first checkpoint, or the payload ends up making it all the way. It can really flip-flop like that. It'll be interesting to see what tactics these teams bring out. It's unfamiliar territory for us in this particular event as to what tactics the teams might bring to the table. Yeah, so I'm excited to head over there. All right, we are loading into Dorado right now. Once again, we have on the red side, D.Va 1, Bad Guy Zeros, who we'll be referring to as the Divas when all the action gets cracking. And then on the blue side, we have Gecko Fox, who we've been following for some time now. And it looks like they will be bringing a pretty standard composition to the table. Spirit has been kind of flipping between Reaper and Genji, and Xretzi kind of switching back and forth between McCree and Tracer as needed. So I'll expect them to kind of bring the same to the table, despite the new map that we're encountering here.
Our team colors, our team colors are staying the same here. The Geckos are going to be in blue again, and they're going to be defending the first this time. Team Divas, we're calling them now, is going to be on the attacking side in red.
Yeah, and as far as openings go, I'm interested to see what Gecko Fox opt for. Most competitive teams try and hold the upper ledge on the outside of the archway, and they'll just try and send out some damage from behind the Reinhardt shield, try and charge ultimates, and once the payload gets into the archway, that's a really great choke point for them to collapse upon. However, not all teams opt to do that. I've seen other teams kind of rush forward and try to take the first corner that the payload goes around. You can see here, Gecko Fox not opting for either. They're actually going to play back behind the archway. They recognize the potential to put out huge amounts of damage onto the majority of the team once they get in through there.
Is an interesting choice. This is going to be forfeiting not only the high ground, but this backstairs attack path for the red team as well. So I'm thinking Gecko Fox is really confident in their market phase hold, or has some sort of plan, because they have a lot of flanks that are not being covered, and it's because they're just watching this main choke point at the underpath.
Yeah, you have to know that you can get the job done to be willing to give up that much distance on the payload already. I mean, the payload is just meters away from the first checkpoint, but teams really can do it. We see now that D.Va's opting for a different path, going to come around the side here instead of heading through the archway. Wags leading the way with his barrier. But Gecko Fox they're there. Desro's going to charge in with the Zarya barrier on him and take out Wags in the process. The Divas aren't dissuaded, though.
This was like an attempt at a pincer attack by the Divas that has not really gone well so far. They're kind of backed up to the high ground now. Xretzi is now pushing out with Spirit. I mean, these two DPS classes, along with their Zarya, are just going to be able to clean up this high ground area, and they're going to retreat right back to the market. Vero getting very aggressive, trying to attack at the same time as Reinhardt is on the cart, but probably going to get picked off here as she gets forced out of her mech here.
Yeah, there can be an advantage to approaching from both directions on this particular point, but they're too close together. You can see Transcendence gets pops as the Dragon Blade comes out. Not too many kills going to go down, although Spirit will pick up Vero in the back. Now the sound barrier comes out. Graviton Surge going to pick up the majority of the Divas. There's not too much damage, though, to capitalize it, although they will finally go down. Desro picking up 2 there.
I'm relatively surprised the Divas did not do better in that fight, and it was mainly because the Earth Shatter from Wags was very good. It hit about 3 people. The Reinhardt Wags got a lot of damage in, but the blue Graviton Surge from Team Gecko Fox was just too well timed. There were too many damage classes around with a high energy Zarya, and really Zarya saved the day for her team in the market phase here. We only have 90 seconds left for the red team to get through the market phase and capture the next checkpoint. Desperate D.Va ult here.
Yeah, Assault Destruct's gonna pick up nothing. Earthshatter goes down, and that's going to get Gecko Fox running. Spirit gets a double kill. Midnight gets a kill of his own as well. The Divas are fleeing backwards, but Spirit's going to pick them off as they run.
And that's a team wipe right there. Lots of real estate taken by the blue team. They realized they were up 3 frags to 0, and they just held W on their keyboard, kept running forward, kept fragging. We are 55 seconds away before we get to overtime, which is needed to push this cart. Red team needs to come up with something. We're at a alt advantage for the blue team, the defenders right now. Arms, where should they be attacking? This choke point is not working.
Yeah, the choke point's not working, but the thing that they're missing is there's a wall in the back that Genji can get over. ConnorJ could be flanking the team this whole time. Instead, they're going to come in through the archway once more. ConnorJ picks up 2. Jesus picks up 1. Transcendence doing a great job of keeping them healthy, and that's going to be the wipe they need. They're going to make their way to this checkpoint here.
Need is the word there, Arms. They had a very good fight. ConnorJ popped the Dragon Blade nice and early, let his teammates try to push in and do damage along with him, and mainly ConnorJ just laying down the Dragon Blade damage and living through that fight resulted in a 6-man wipe. Very few losses on the side of the red team. Jesus, very far overextended. He's going to get himself picked up by Spirit, which is going to let the blue team, the Geckos here, hold their high ground church position. Arms, the church is a very, very sought after position for holding on Dorado.
Yeah, the high ground is extremely important, and it just gives a team great opportunity to get some damage out without taking too much back. It's a really good vantage point, but Vero and ConnorJ are going to make an effort to reclaim it. ConnorJ climbing up the wall there. He's in the middle of the team, but yeah, there's not any backup for him. He's going to opt out of that one. Sound barrier comes down. There's a self-destruct. It's right on top of the bridge. Jesus picks up 2 as they try to get away from that self-destruct. Dragon Blades are dropped on both sides, but ConnorJ is going to be the first to fall. Spirit picks up a double kill, triple kill, as he just runs that Dragon Blade all along the backs of the Divas here.
Very successful team fight there. It really, really looked heavily favored in the red team side there at the beginning, but Spirit, I really think that Dragon Blade was actually poorly timed, but to my little knowledge here, Spirit actually made it work. He's holding off the second point for his team almost by himself. The blue team, the Geckos, are finally gathered again. They don't have any high ground at the moment, though, and they're waiting for the red team to engage on them. Ultimates are about even for both sides. We have a support ultimate for each side. A Graviton Surge is going down. Both Transcendences are used to ult. There are no frags yet. There's a lot of good damage going down, though. Desro is about to go down right now. He's being focused by the D.Va of the red team and ConnorJ, all upon Desro. Arms, I don't know how Desro is alive right now. This tank needs to go down if the red team's going to hold this push.
Yeah, there's just so much support coming out from these healers. The Transcendence coming out from both sides, keeping everyone alive for forever. Spirit is going to manage to pick up a double kill towards the end. It's going to be Genji v Genji on this payload.
It's Genji Lucio versus Genji Lucio on the payload at the moment. You don't see this often. To the point of a Dragon Blade being popped just to take out 2 people, and ConnorJ goes down himself. Very bad trade for the Dragon Blade on ConnorJ's side. Red team now lacking a few ultimates to engage in, and they only have 45 seconds to get this to the checkpoint. Blue team is lacking members at the moment, though. Red team pops a sound barrier. They really want to get this checkpoint as soon as possible. Jesus does not have an ultimate. There are no ultimates for the red side, except for the D.Va ult, which actually picks up a kill in the name of Xretzi. The blue team, though, now pops their sound barrier as well. This is a very, very long team fight, Arms Race, and this is going to be one of those scramble fights as everybody is doing the payload salsa, jumping and shooting at the same time right now.
Yeah, these team fights are getting awful hectic, and just to give you guys a reminder of the stakes, the Divas are 12 seconds away from being out of this tournament. They need to get it together and put up some type of team defense. They just can't do it. They're so split up right now. Spirit is going to get his Dragon Blade canceled out a bit by the Earth Shatter.
It's all up to Jesus right now. He's sitting on a Death Blossom. Shut down.
Yeah, very smart of them to try and flank around and get the contest going, but there's just not enough team members alive to really contest for too long. Too much of a distance from the spawn point.
Watch this Reinhardt try to
going to go down one by one here.
Nope, not even.
Complete.
And Gecko Fox will take our semifinal here.
Yeah, it looks
if they
like
can push it all the way.
Yeah, we just need a capture past this point. So realistically, Team Gecko Fox needs to push past the second checkpoint or to the second checkpoint here on Dorado, and they will be moving on to the grand finals if that is the case. However, the team in red, who is now the defending team, they are Team Divas. Let's say their full name. Divas 1, Bad Guys 0. Because, you know, we always get blown up for not saying player names and team names properly.
Yeah, we don't want to abbreviate too much.
Yeah. Point being is that this is their chance. They have to hold before the second checkpoint. I don't think we're going to see any kind of crazy defense tactic, no sniper, no bastion or anything, but I'm either thinking we're going to see over passiveness or over aggression from the red team, because when you're put against the wall like this and you're not going to run bastion, you're not going to run sniper or May, some sort of, you know, over defensive pick, you kind of have to decide how to play. Like, I don't think they're just going to say, okay, let's go try our hardest. I really think they're going to try and come up with something new here, or something a little bit off the norm to hold this. They are they're tournament right now.
Exactly. Yeah, you want to try and switch things up. It's a difficult situation to be in. You know, we followed Gecko Fox all along this tournament so far, since the second round here. And the one thing we've noticed consistently is that they do a very aggressive push when it comes to attacking with a payload. And it's a difficult situation to be in, because I think they kind of thrive in the chaos. And so if the Divas were to opt for an aggressive strategy, you know, one thing can go wrong and that could result in a team wipe that'll earn Gecko Fox a checkpoint in an instant. And that's the last thing you want. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some passivity coming out from the Divas. Vero's going to be on top of the rooftops trying to spot flankers, and there's a ton of them to be had. Midnight, Spirit, and Phaz all coming along this top ledge here. Payload slowly creeping up.
I'm looking forward to this Desro play. I really like the Winston action that Desro has provided us tonight. Knows when to stay with the support, knows when to jump. We actually already have a Tracer kind of trying to get into the midst of things right now. Position yourself to try and lay in some damage and open up things for teams. And just as I say that, Tracer and Winston fighting together with their Zarya. Desro goes down very fast, though. Spirit picks up the kill in the meantime. We do have frags coming out from the blue side, and it looks like the biggest problem right now is the red team is severely segregated. They are all in different portions of the map right now. Finally, Ecks Dee kind of catches up with his Reaper, but he really needs to speed boost his butt out of here. He can't afford to die right now, Arm.
Yeah, so the Divas are suffering from the flank that I was talking about, how they needed to execute themselves when they were having trouble securing this checkpoint on the attack. You know, it's so difficult to keep this payload from moving when you're looking in the opposite direction. And
Did you see that pin?
Yeah, that was brutal.
And it was kind of a guessing accidental pin. You know, it's one of those situations where you just pin to see if you get anything from it. What we've been missing after that pin, though, is 2 Death Blossoms. One picks up 2 kills, but it's a little bit too late. By the time Jesus picked up 2 kills, his team was already down by 4 members. Due to his team being down 4 members, we have Genji, we have Tracer, we have Winston, all taking free real estate from the red team right now. I just want to say Gecko Fox is setting themselves up for victory right now. They have so much real estate taken into this phase of the map so far. They might as well have already conquered the church by themselves.
Yeah, you know, it's such relentless aggression. Desro completely by himself just getting up in the face of the red team on the bridge here. Meanwhile, the payload's just chugging along. 3 team members on it consistently. They're not leaving any downtime here as they make their way.
Here goes Desro again.
Jump forward.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to start making a play. He doesn't really have any backup at the moment. He doesn't need backup, though. His plan is to primal raid. I think this is the move for Gecko Fox to win the game. Desro goes down quickly. We have a very successful Earthshatter coming out from Wag. Wags allows Jesus and Vero to pick up some kills. Right now, Divas 1, Bad Guy 0 is safe, but they have another 4.5 minutes to hold.
Yeah, Desro definitely having the right idea in mind, you know, to try and divert the focus of the Divas so that they can't properly address the incoming DPS threats. However, they reacted pretty well to it, took him out fairly quickly, and they still maintained control of this upper archway. However, the payload's made its way past it now. Sound barrier is going to come down from both sides as the fray begins.
We almost have
out the Dragon Blade.
We almost have a Death Blossom as well. There it is, coming out from Jesus now, finally taking control. And this has been another fight where a DPS class has kind of saved the day for the red team, which is Team D.VA. They're going to use their D.Va's ult as zoning here, not really picking up any frags on it, but they're just kind of securing their real estate right now in this streets phase near the church here.
Yeah, when you're this close to the final resting place of the payload, you'll really take any distance you can get between you and the final ending point. Payload's getting awfully close. They need a body on there contesting. Jesus is gonna volunteer. He's wraith forming around the payload, trying to avoid as much damage as he can, but he is gonna go down to Locke.
This looks like it's gonna
contest.
Yeah, this looks like demise for the red team. Oh, Wags just barely misses the Earth Shatter in time. Very good show of display from both teams here, but Gecko Foxes are just looking great. Basically, I feel as if every time Gecko Foxes does something wrong, they come back with a push maybe 2 or 3 pushes later, or a defense maybe 2 or 3 pushes later that just does it completely. Because it seems like every team fight Gecko wins, it's by a big margin. It seems like every fight their opponent wins is either relatively close or a huge wipe. So, level of competition just looking really good here. Arms race, this has been great. We're going to be moving into our grand finals here very soon. Between I'm not sure whom actually, I'm sorry about that, and the team
Ecks
Gecko
Dees
Fox
versus Gecko Fox.
Oh boy, so Gecko Foxes are going to be facing the anime face Ecks Dees. Guys, my name has been Aaron LOL for the competitive Overwatch League. I am joined by Arms Race on the casting desk tonight. We're going to go back to the analyst desk and for a short break before we get to our grand finals. We appreciate you joining us tonight. Matchroom, take it away.
Thanks, Aaron. Thank you so much, Arms Race. Oh, alas, Poro. D.Va 0, Bad Guys 2. Them
You
feels,
know,
man.
they put forth a very valiant effort, but as so far tonight, we just haven't been able to see anybody be able to stop this aggressive play by Gecko Fox.
I have to say, I'm really happy that Midnight got play of the game there because as I was watching that was just Midnight putting on a tutorial on how to play Zarya the whole time. I mean, there was one point whenever we were on King's Row that they were defending. They were at the streets phase, the little L bracket that happens there, and Midnight was at full energy, just shooting and lobbing the energy pulses over the buildings into the spawn, so they couldn't even come out of the spawn. We're talking like, I would probably say it's probably about a good 15 or 20 second walk, and was nailing it to where they couldn't even come out one entrance without taking damage. That's a level of, okay, I guess we know what we're doing now. I know how to play Zarya. I am going to play this, and I'm just going to run high energy all night.
Yeah,
so,
looking at and what's the funny thing is, I'm being a sneaky sneakerson here, but Zarya, not even Midnight's most played champion, not even close to Midnight's most played champion. 3 hours in quick play, 4 hours in competitive. Midnight actually a Widowmaker main. Who would have thought? But and not even close, like 20 hours on Widowmaker. But it just goes to show you when you have a champion that you understand the mechanics and you have a team that you build around this champion and you're able to work around this champion and be in the right place at the right time and know how to play the champion, it works out well. Doesn't matter if you play it all the time or not.
Yeah, I mean, naturally, we've got to give a shout out to Master Overwatch, one of our sponsors. That's the way we get some of these stats going on their website for them and stuff. But, oh my gosh, there's so much good stuff to talk about. Now, I know that we're going to be talking about Gecko Fox a lot, but there is one moment that I really want to talk about that seemed to be the breath of life for D.Va 1, Bad Guys 0, which was during their attack phase on King's Row at the streets. There was one moment, and I felt like you could just feel a momentum come back into D.Va 1. I'm just going to call him D.Va 1 for right now. And that's whenever they got Lucio speed boosted Wags on Reinhardt. And he managed to push through the other Reinhardt shield. The dog just came in and decided to open my door. Sorry about that. And so Wags manages to come through and drop down his the Earth Shatter onto like a huge section of the team. And they manage to push in and get the point after that and complete the streets phase. that just seemed to reinvigorate the whole team, and that's what let him continue push on, move into the next section, and push it into the overtime for the King's Row match.
Right. I think one of the things that D.Va 1 Bad Guy 0 Winky Face actually did really, really well was getting together and regrouping. You know, obviously they were losing a lot of these team fights. They were finding themselves falling behind, but they did a really excellent job of regrouping and trying to get back together and keep pushing. They had a plan for what they wanted to do. It didn't end up working out, but they stuck with that plan, and that's the most you can ask for any team is to work together as a team. If you have a plan, if that plan works, great. If it's not working, you want to try to adjust, and that's the shot caller's job if you have a shot caller on your team. But as long as your entire team is completely committed and selling out for this entire for the plan that the team has going forward, 9 times out of 10 it'll do well. Just every now and then you end up against a team like Gecko Fox that's just what can you say? What can you say about Gecko Fox?
They're really trying hard to get Rick Fox's attention. We can see it. Trust us. I think everybody here will be like, okay, we see it. We'll give you a shout out to Rick
Fox's attention.
Everybody loves Rick Fox, man. All right, so some other points we got to make, man. Okay, well, there's one point. There's so many points on Dorado, but there was one interesting point that I want to hit on, and we'll go back and hit on some of the other ones. And that's whenever we had the Genji Lucio versus Genji Lucio fight. And it was like towards the end of the payload, and everybody was bouncing around. And I know it seemed really weird for Spirit to decide to use his ult to finish off the Lucio and the Genji. The reason why that play worked so well was there was only about 30 seconds left. So by using the ult, securing those 2 kills, he knew that he staggered those deaths back at least another 12 seconds. So that means that the team would have to regroup, and then probably by the time the Lucio and Genji caught back up with the rest of the team, there maybe be 5 to 10 seconds left for them to actually make a push in to try to get something. I know a lot of people looked at it kind of weird, and they were like, why would you use Genji ult on just another Genji? But that is the reason why, and it was such a smart play. Like, that's one of the things I want to say. Like, sure, there's skilled Genji play that happens on a lot, and especially on this level, but Spirit has been doing very smart skilled Genji play, and I think that there's a significant note to be made in that. It's a lot of very intelligent flanks and intelligent moves.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think one of the things that you're bringing up is something that can help anybody as they play this game in competitive or even in quick play. Is just this clock awareness, this idea of clock awareness, and having an idea of the distance that your enemy has to travel in order to get to where they need to be for the fight. If they're attacking, how long is it going to take them to get from that spawn to that payload to where it's currently at? Most of the time, if you're on defense, you have that advantage of being able to get to the point quicker because your spawn is a little bit closer. Well, that's not necessarily true. Especially not on Dorado. Dorado, for God's sake, Dorado, the spawn point for defending is just ridiculously far away. But the point that you make though with using that Genji ult on just the 2 people to stagger the deaths when there's 30 to 45 seconds left is exactly right. When you're thinking about if you're trying to get that point pushed, obviously that attacking team is going to need as many players as they can get, and using the Genji ult to kill another Genji, fine, that's kind of like for like, same for same. But then going on and then killing the Lucio, that was the big thing. That was the bigger part, because now they don't have that healing and speed boosting factor that they needed to stay on that point for longer. And I think that was a very wise decision on that part.
I wholly agree. I mean, a lot of people tend to forget that, like, whenever you're dealing with these points, it's not just a point that you're competing against. You're not just trying to get to that point. You're trying to get to that point in a certain time frame. The timer is almost its own enemy to you in some degree. So you have to be cautious on how you behave inside of that. Specifically, once you start talking about time and death timers, though, that seems to be one of the major distinctions between how you're planning your attack or your defense as a team, is how well you can learn to stagger those deaths to cause more time So that means there's less pushes. Because let's be honest, after a certain amount of pushes, you can just get lucky, or you can get enough ult fed. Like that's kind of what happened with how D.Va 1 managed to break through the Dorado point. I mean, we were down to like the last couple of seconds on it, but they had just managed to amass so many ultimates. They just stacked ult and ult and ult and ult to finally push through, and the defender spawn was just too far away for them to come back in time. So, I mean, I could go on rants forever about Dorado Point 1, but there was a lot of I do have to give a call out on the fence for Desro on that again, because he played some phenomenally good Reinhardt on defense at that point, and that's what held that choke for so long. But the ability for your tanks to fluctuate between all the different points that you can move in at is kind of what makes that choke so strong, because there's only a few entrances and they're all right next to each other, unless you go around the back Genji path or back D.Va path. Now, on the other side of that, whenever they attacked, there for a long time, Gecko Fox didn't use Reinhardt. And I know that was something you and me were messaging about during the match. We kind of like looked at it. It was, they went back to we're going to do control point. We're going to go hyper aggressive. Let's go Winston. Let's go D.Va. Let's go all the flankers. Go in, and they did. That's what they do, man.
And it's definitely been working. I mean, when you've got Desro on the Winston, and Desro's just been, I mean, I know I've said it a couple of times, but he's been an absolute beast. On the Winston, he's constantly in the back line, constantly causing havoc. Once you get him on the Reinhardt, he's always seems to be in the right position. You know, he's defending for his damage, or he's right in the middle in the thick of things, just causing havoc. His ults have been great. And you know, when you add on to that Locke on the Zenyatta, and I can't remember his name now, playing on Lucio. He's been on Lucio all night. Both of their supports have been amazing. Everything just seems to be working out great for Gecko right now, and they're gonna have a hard time being stopped.
Yeah, and just as a reminder, we are moving into the finals. It's going to be a best of 3 with the Ecks Dees versus Gecko Fox. We're starting to get into the map selection phase right now, so we'll update you as that's going through. Whenever I think about it, I think that Arms just pretty much nailed it whenever he was talking earlier, and that seems to be the whole way Gecko Fox plays. Is it's fun to get kills, but it's more fun to get kills with friends. That seems to be their whole strategy in life. It's just, let's all get together, let's go, let's deathball jump as fast as we can, let's go on in. Now then, what do you do to stop that? That's got to be the question that we're going to be asking. What can XDs do?
One thing that the XDs have going for them right now is that they have played every single round. They did not have a bye. Gecko Fox had a bye in the first round. The XDs did not. The XDs have gone through Weedem Boys. They've gone through Harambe is Bay. They've gone through Rise Nation, and then most recently defeating Something Original. And according to our bracket, the XDs have not lost yet. So even though we have not seen them play on stream yet, they appear to be very, very strong. Now the question is, how are they going to be able to counter this style of Gecko Fox, of this aggressive, in-your-face pushing style that has served Gecko Fox so well and gotten them to this point so far?
I'm kind of curious if a strong solution for this might be running 3 support, 2 tank, 1 DPS. Try to outlive their damage just through health and healing. Like, this might be one of those times where we might actually see Mercy or Anna come in. Perhaps running a Symmetra if you're running defense. Mainly, you just need to discourage the group. Actually, we might be phenomenal here. Junkrat to avoid them coming in and pushing. We haven't seen Junkrat tonight. Never lucky. Anytime you're with me, poor, never gonna get Junkrat. Just like the one time it happens, I'm just gonna imagine you like, I'm gonna see you on the cams just jumping up and down and being like.
Most likely. I gotta say though, I don't, as much as I think Mercy is a great pick, I don't know if Mercy against this style of Gecko Fox, this attacking in-your-face style, especially with Spirit on Genji, how long would a Mercy last? You know, I mean, I have a feeling that the Mercy would be back there and would just get taken out before anything could even happen. So
I'm willing to bet that that's likely true, but on the flip side of that, it's with the way he's playing right now, it's likely true on either way. I could just hope that maybe you could build up enough, like you could finally build up ult and then just go hide. Like your job in life is just to go hide, fight the 5v6, maybe get one of them down, blow their ultimates, Mercy come in, res, and then get killed by the Genji because you know it's going to happen. I mean, there's a reason why Mercy's out of meta right now, and that's because Genji is annoying to play against as Mercy.
Well, speaking of meta, also, as we've gone tonight, Gecko Fox has been one of the few teams that has been very willing to just ditch McCree.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that that's really interesting, considering how often you see this Zenyatta McCree Reinhardt Lucio combo. Gecko Fox has been more likely to go with a Genji Reaper, 2 tanks, 2 healers, and just forego doing the McCree all together. So it'd be interesting to see if that holds true through these finals. If they're going to stay on these comfort picks, on these picks that they played the whole time, all night, are they gonna ride? Are they gonna dance with the girl that got them there, that they brought to the dance? Are they gonna start trying to mix things up and get weird because it's the finals? Who knows?
We're looking at the draft right now, and it looks like we've got the last 2 that just got dropped off were King's Row and Volskaya. So we've got Dorado that's still hanging up. I find it curious that Volskaya came so late inside of the ban phase. That's interesting to me. We haven't seen Volskaya in quite a while. You think that a lot of teams really do not like playing in that area, but
I despise Volskaya with a passion more than anything. Can't stand Volskaya. I hate that level. But
now we're getting close to sneaking into going into our finals. So that's right, Twitch chat, get a little bit hype. At this point, remember, this is getting into your final times. Go to !Matcherino. Just use the code, donate some. Maybe we're getting close to hitting the next breakpoint. We've already given out 1 reward tonight for the first time. Keep on building those points because you're going to want to hear something random from us, give you a shout out, maybe hit the Calcast. But we are starting to move into the groups here. Looks like we're headed to Dorado. So we will see you guys after the final. Everybody get hype, have fun. Porose.
Have fun.
All right, passing it over to Aaron and Arms Race.
All right, Twitch, welcome back. GLHF has been called not by the players, but by the competitive Overwatch League staff members. Myself and Arms Race are joining you guys on the stream tonight to bring you the grand finals of tonight's Friday tournament with the Matcherino prize pool of over $150. The competitive Overwatch League Open number 8. Arms Race, we're on Dorado. Let's talk map.
Yeah, so we've only seen Dorado once before, and we haven't seen the map needed to be completed yet. And that's something that I suspect we'll probably end up seeing by the time we're done here. We do have Team Ecks Dee on the blue side, and they'll be defending first time around. And then Gecko Fox, we've been following them all along. And they will be attacking on the red side. Some pretty standard picks coming out from Gecko Fox, stuff we're familiar with. The Roadhog coming out on the side of Ecks Dee is something we haven't seen as much. We saw it picked briefly on a few maps previously, but I'll be interested to see what type of use they make of the Roadhog pick on this first checkpoint here.
I really like the Roadhog pick. It's really a pick in the name of DPS, if you ask me. He's kind of like a big fat tanking Reaper. I do want to point out, I'm really looking forward to Midnight play. I love watching him play Zarya, and the Zarya is just consistent. So, also to bring in, Zarya counters Roadhog hook if she uses her shields correctly. So that could be a big thing to look in. I want to bring up, you were talking about Genji's not taking the back wall, and look right now, Arms Race, look who's taking the back wall.
Yeah, Spirit's all over that. But at the same time, it looks like Ecks Dee is going to be making a contest for the payload here. Spirit does manage to pick up the Zenyatta on the back there, but his team is falling left and right the whole time. Spirit does pick up a double kill, able to survive with the help of that Zarya barrier. But
There's a relative amount of aggression there from the blue team in that choke. They just kind of, I'm not sure if they knew Spirit was flanking or not, but as Spirit was flanking, they really just started to push into the choke. The red team now, Geckos, is starting to show their aggression of their own. Desro doing his job, jumping on the proper targets, getting the Zenyatta out of the fight. Desro finally goes down, though, and we now have tanks clashing again. We have a Graviton Surge from Midnight, but Midnight is not really getting results out of the Graviton Surge yet, and Midnight is surrounded by himself. A very successful Earthshatter from Tylan, but Tylan has no support with that Earthshatter. I'm a little bit surprised. The payload salsa is still happening, and it looks like the defending team is actually going to probably hold this.
Yeah, you know, it was interesting. At first, I was a little confused by Ecks Dee's decision to play a bit further back here, but it's working out okay for them. You see Roadhog throwing down the whole hog, but Winston's going to go into his primal range so he can survive that here. Start knocking around a few of the defenders, but they've got more than a few bodies on this payload. It's not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. Saber manages to take out Locke on Zenyatta. Now he's going after Xretzi on the Tracer there.
So I'm going to say the red team's engagement this next time around will probably look much better. The position of the cart right now means that they basically have free reign of where they're going to show up on the cart from. So instead of being restricted to this choke point, it looks like they're just going to speed boost through the choke point anyway, Arms Race. We have a very aggressive Dragon Blade and Sound Barrier being popped from the red team. Gecko Fox right now is trying to combat the blue team's Transcendence. We're waiting for an ultimate to come out from the blue team to solidify this, but a Torbnus Steel has come down, and just as the Torbnus Steel ends, like you said, ooey, Tylan hits a money Earth Shatter right there. Tylan is also going to hit a money pin on the enemy Reinhardt, and really Tylan saving the day on this push. Looks like the red team is going to be stumped for now in the market phase.
Yeah, you know, Spirit's still around to try and pick up a few kills. He's kind of trying to solo everyone out. He hasn't given up. And
these double Dragon Blades are going down. And a good reaction to double Dragon Blade is a Transcendence, completely nullifying the blue Dragon Blade until Saber finally gets a kill and goes down. So, Arms, this is another one of those multi-team fights. They just cannot stop engaging. The red team at this point is finally going to secure this payload, so this may kind of reset that positioning thing where everybody's kind of bundle up again together and start to get ready. But I mean, that was actually a straight 60 seconds of fighting in the market phase.
Yeah, you know, and when the fights never end, you know, that shows that both teams are, you know, feeling kind of evenly matched, and that neither one is able to entirely take out the other before reinforcements are able to arrive. Which means that there's just more fun in store for us as we make our way to the chapel here.
I like the way you put that. I want to point out we have a Pulse Bomb ready, and this Tracer's gone undetected. I want to point out Xretzi also likes to crouch a lot to make sure they stay undetected. The Pulse Bomb is going to be a complete whiff here from Xretzi. In that note, though, we do have an engagement. The blue team decides to jump off of the roof and decide to engage the red team. Reinhardt pins hitting each other. Desro getting a kill against the enemy Reinhardt right now. So good for the red team so far, but the Zenyatta and the McCree on the blue team have been uncontested. Finally, Spirit picks up some kills in the name of McCree and the Zenyatta. And I really think, Arms Race, that the McCree and Zenyatta from the blue team lived for a little bit too long. It seems like right when they went down, that means the back lines were down for the blue team, pushing the Ecks Dees back into this kind of garage phase now.
Yeah, and I have to say, the Transcendence Dragon Blade combo coming out from Gecko Fox is probably one of my favorite ult combos that there is. It's really subtle, but here comes the next fight. Earthshatter's going to knock a whole bunch of people flat, but Transcendence goes down. It's going to negate a little bit of the damage. Graviton Surge catches up most of the team, and the Dragon Blade's going to cut right through them. Self-Destruct's going to pick up nobody. Defending Reinhardt finally going to go down, and Hetror's the only one still on the payload, but not for long, as Gecko Fox do secure this second checkpoint here.
I'm not sure if we credit the Genji for the Dragon Blade or we credit the Zarya for the Graviton Surge, because yes, it's a common combo, yes, it's easy, but they made it look perfect. I mean, they were literally, I think they did 5 frags to 1 at that fight, so well done, Spirit, well done, Midnight.
Yeah, teamwork is definitely OP in that particular fight.
Just like Jeff Kaplan tells us. We have a Deadeye coming out, and we're forcing an engagement. Blue team, Ecks Dee's all over the red team right now. Gecko Fox decides to pop their ultimate in the support fashion, trying to keep their team alive. We don't have any frags yet, and we have an unsuccessful Earthshatter from Tylan as well. Midnight has not been contested now. Phaze also not been contested. Now we're seeing the blue team's frag stack up. Just as I say Midnight is going uncontested, we see 5 or 4 frags in the direction of the Ecks Dees. So the Ecks Dees real quick TLDR, they literally speed boosted on top of the enemy team and just forced the fight. Made it look really good. The fight took a while, but they got the result.
Yeah, Ecks Dee's, the Ecks Dee's saying, hey, we got a Genji too, and he has a Dragon Blade of his own. It hurts just as much. Enjoy. Here we go. They're repositioning now. Deadeye comes down from the side of Gecko Fox right in this hallway here. They want to get down that Reinhardt barrier, but they're not going to be able to. Xretzi still picks up 1. Very, very clustered in the back here.
Oh, and the Gecko Foxes are doing everything right now. Desro using his ultimate just to stop the Dragon Blade of the enemy Genji. Totally worth it. McCree using his Deadeye just to snipe the Zenyatta. Totally worth it. This success we're seeing right now is based on those 2 picks alone, Arms Ray.
Yeah, you know, the Earthshatter is a very smart call to get that Genji. That charge going to pick out Lucio in the back there, or Zenyatta. Locke throws down the Transcendence to try and keep his teammates alive. Spirit gets right up in the face of the spawn there, does manage to take out Zenyatta. Hetror
These teams
on the D.Va by himself.
These teams look so evenly matched. From their last point fight, when it gets to this point and like they're about, you know, what is it, like, I don't know, 20 meters away from the checkpoint, when it gets to this point, their fights are so constant, even with the spawn staggering, that it just looks like both teams are very evenly matched. Every time you think there's an advantage, like right now with the Dragon Blade of the red team from Spirit, the blue team is still all over the card. A good Earthshatter comes down from Desro, though, and between the Earthshatter and the Torpness Steel, we're going to see the payload finally fully captured in what's actually, if this were stopwatch, a pretty long attack time.
6-3.
Yeah, you know, it seemed like an emphatic push from the side of Gecko Fox, but yeah, it didn't take as quick as you might have thought it did. And the reality is the Ecks Dees really doing a good job. They can survive most offensive ultimates as long as they don't get locked down from any crowd control from the ult of a tank such as Midnight or Desro. And that's a good sign for them. It shows that, and they've shown that they've been able to win team fights of their own. Now we're just going to have to see if they can win the right ones to get this payload to the proper checkpoints. They do have to make it all the way to the end here and then win a sudden death round. And this is only just for the first point of our best of 3 in this finals, so their work is certainly cut out for them.
Yeah, this being a single elimination bracket, though, it will just proceed the first to get 2 map points, so whole map victories will be the grand final champion of tonight, as this is a single elimination bracket, not a double elimination bracket. That's for kind of the over weekend land kind of things, because on PC games, those tend to take quite a while. Talk about lineups. We see an Ana. We do see it from the attacking team, though, which means they have 28 seconds to just change the character on us to look really funny.
Please don't switch. Please don't switch off of Ana. I want to see it so bad.
The red team looks very standard, though, and we see Spirit going to his second DPS class of choice. Not Genji, but Reaper this time. Reaper with a very good mid to close range zone control, hopefully shredding down some tanks. So, surprisingly, though, we don't have, like, we have very typical tank composition from the blue team, but we do have a difference in Zarya being traded for D.Va. Reinhardt's still showing on both teams, though.
And they're keeping the Ana. I'm so happy about that. Ana is competitively viable, especially when you've got a Reinhardt and a Genji. Plenty of great ultimate targets. You know, if you thought the Dragon Blades were threatening before, just wait until they're nano boosted.
And they're certainly running a Genji again as well, so it'll either be a Reinhardt or a Genji getting boosted. I want to bring up that Ana already has 70% ult, more than anybody else in the game right now. Red team forces an engagement as the blue team kind of stepped a little bit too far up. Spirit's just hanging out with his tanks and laying down mad damage. Desro really knows when to be aggressive. I want to quote something, people talking about Renbot when he was kind of rising to fame in this game, about how his Reinhardt aggression kind of carried his teams to victory. We're seeing that kind of play from Desro tonight, and it looks fantastic.
It's absolutely unbelievable. Desro got put to sleep by Ana, then charged into the wall And thanks to his team, he survived enough to be able to force the whole team back. But here comes the next engage. Nano Boost goes on to Tylan, but he's pretty much alone. He takes so much damage off the back end. Meanwhile, Gecko Fox is just cleaning up on the payload here. Desro picks up 4 kills.
Easy
What a clean
peasy.
defense.
Yeah, so you said it right away. Tylan got nano boosted and was just by himself. That was the problem.
Yeah, that charge
Totally by
went
himself.
wild. Yeah, a little off on the charge. That kind of stinks as an Ana player. We can see Berserkerhug is switched off of the Ana pick now. You know, it is a bummer to charge up your ultimate all the way to ult somebody only to figure out that they're not able to get results. Which is, I think, why we have the switch. Amp It Up's gonna go down. They get boosted in. The Reinhardts collide. And the blue team starts picking up a few flags, but there's a Graviton Surge.
Big frag
Not too much
advantage.
damage, actually, to follow through there. And there's the team wipe.
A wipe, arms raised. Very RIP Spirit being called in the chat. Super good engagement there. And you know, I don't want to say the red team did anything wrong, because it's one of those things where when you're that deep in the fight already, you might as well not try to run away. Try and engage in the fight, try and get something. Turns out it was like a 6-to-1 frag ratio, so super good looking fight from the Ecks Dees here, or as they are now on attack against the Gecko Foxes in red. We're going to see very normal zone control from the red team, the Gecko Foxes, right now. They do not want to give up the church at any cost. This probably means, though, that the XDs are going to force an engagement of some sort. It's actually going to be the red team forcing the engagement. Spirit comes down with just mad fragging damage, hitting all of his shots as he receives a sound barrier from his red team's Lucio. The frags are relatively going back and forth. A few frags coming out from the XDs in blue right now, but the frag lead has been in the favor of the red team since the advantage of this fight. I didn't even see Spirit spend the Death Blossom, but it got spent and he just kept holding mouse 1, picked up the frag. Good pushback there from the red team. They really need to recollect, though. They're going back up to the church right now.
Yeah, that's one of the advantages of having the high ground. You give the impression that you have a lot of distance between you and the enemy team, when the reality is you're just above them, and Reaper able to jump right onto the team, be in perfect range to deal maximum damage with his shotguns. Gecko Fox still holding the upper ledge here. Desro gets down onto the bottom level, and that's going to Berserkerhug to draw his Transcendence. Tylan's going to pick up 2. And that's just kind of a side effect of having your team scattered on multiple levels here. Spirit does pick up 2 on his own, and Locke comes in with backup on the Transcendence.
Spirit came in with just the money Death Blossom timing. It wasn't even a huge frag count from the Death Blossom arms race. What it was 2 people that were about to recollect with each other to keep pushing from Team XD, but instead there was a Reaper there and he pressed Q, so that kind of reset the push here. Very good timing from Spirit. Spirit's really doing his job as a DPS class. We have a speed boosted engagement with a totally whiffed Earth Shatter from Tylan, unfortunately. This is going to force a defensive sound barrier from Phaze on the red team. The red team, Gecko Foxes right now, decide to cancel their Deadeye so they don't die to a D.Va ultimate. The red team, however, in dominant fashion still, though. Oh, arms race. Spirit is carrying so hard.
Yeah, you know, he's finding the perfect flank points. As you can see him right now, he's up in the upper level of the chapel there. And, you know, he's done a really great job of just falling into the back line when nobody's paying any attention. And then all of a sudden, your supports are dead. Your offense characters can't live as long as they thought they were going to, and soon the whole team gets wiped. Gotta give some credit, though, that I think that the XDs had the right idea in mind. The spawns were a little staggered, so they thought they had an opportunity. Graviton Surge's gonna pick out 2, but it's not gonna stop them from getting any kills. The blue team gets 1 kill after another. Spirit does finally come in with that flank. It takes out the Zenyatta. Picks up another kill, but ultimately Saber's gonna take him out. And that will secure the second checkpoint here.
Spirit did about as good as a Reaper could do there. Didn't really make a lot happen with the Death Blossom because by the time he got to the fight, it was already over. And realistically, what caused that, Spirit was not controlling his flank area. He let that McCree, without seeing him, come up and Deadeye. And that Deadeye was the beginning of the engagement for the blue team, the XDs. So we're going to see how they force the engagement on the high ground here. They haven't really chosen an attack path yet. They're just pushing the cart. Not sure who's going to engage first at this moment because we're very spare on ultimates right now.
Yeah, there may be a little back and forth time while people try and get their ultimates, but it looks like not. Gecko Fox, or no, sorry, the Ecks Dee is going to make this push here on the second floor. Oh, Desro gets a massive charge onto Tylan, very valuable. Hetror going to pick up the kill onto Desro, but the damage may have already been done. Sound barrier goes down, and kills start coming one after another.
It looks
on the
like
side
the
of the
damage
XDs.
has been done, Arm Race. Ecks Dee's picked up 3 frags in a matter of a few seconds. We're going to get that weird phase where everybody's spawning together for the red team right now, and they need to decide when to show their face out and come touch the payload. They've got about 2 seconds to touch the payload before it reaches its destination. Spirit and Desro are on the point, trying to make something huge money earth shatter from Desro, but there's nobody follow up on it. Finally, McCree is here to save the day with Midnight. Oh, that was a money earth shatter. It's a good thing he was playing McCree and not some other class, because by the time McCree got to the point for the red team, the enemies were recovering from the earth shatter, but they were still in that stun phase where they can't attack yet. I mean, that was about as close to the earth shatter gap as they could have gotten. Desro really saving the day there.
Yeah, really value play by Desro. You can tell that Gecko Fox is communicating very well, just because of how quickly Xretzi was able to get onto the prone team and take them out.
Yeah, the team kind of recovering from stun. So they're going to be making
for the lower level here.
Yeah, I don't like this push arm.
That area. They're going to be behind them. Such awkward positioning. Xretzi throws down the Deadeye.
Oh,
Spirit's already picked up 2. He does pick up 1, and Spirit just cleans up with the Dragon Blade. Ugh. So brutal.
We talked about somebody okay, it was on King's Row. A team put themselves in the corner of the hotel. That is just what the XDs executed, and they blew most of their ultimates doing it. They literally shoved themselves into a corner, and Arms, I have to point out to you, Twitch, if you don't understand how good the red team just performed, they saw a good decision, and they made it in a snap second. That is how they won that team fight just now. That was a crazy good engagement from the red team. We have a boosted blue team now, speed boosting in Arms Race.
Yeah, Transcendences go down from both sides. The teams are kind of split up. So that's just going to take out the blue team members that are on the second level. Meanwhile, Midnight going to make quick work of the blue team members around the payload. And even when the team is split, Gecko Fox still able to clean up.
So another good hold from Gecko Fox. They have very little time on the payload. We actually need to touch the cart in the next 5 seconds. Blue team needs to use their speed boost for something, but they're not even going to make it to the cart. Actually, the Genji Saber makes it to the cart. Him and Tylan are about to go down, but the Genji for the blue team is still alive. Everybody has swarmed to the cart, though, and once you start swarming to the cart, you make it easier for the defending opponents to know where to attack you. It looks like this is going to be a victory in the name of the Gecko Foxes.
Yeah, credit to Saber. He had a very smart dash there to get out of the Graviton Surge. She did manage to proc that over time, but being alone on the payload, he died very quickly, and the team just died one by one afterwards, and that's never good for reclaiming the payload in overtime. And here we have for the play of the game that massive turnaround that, like you were saying, was so clutch. You could tell it was pure instinct based on how quickly they responded to it. Good play on behalf of Gecko Fox.
Yeah, Gecko Fox looking very strong on that map there. So we're going to be advancing to the next map. We have it picked out as Dorado for our first map, going 1-0 in favor of Gecko Fox. We will be spawning on Hollywood next. This should be pretty quick in the lobby. Just hang tight with us here. We're not even going to bother going to break or anything. We're going to go straight into Hollywood, hopefully. Both of these teams really want to get these matches over with. I can't even point out anything besides everything seemed to be coming down to positioning. And the reason I bring that up is I'm trying to say it wasn't so much about death matching. It wasn't, oh, my aim is better than your aim. It was our team made the right decision. Your team made the wrong decision.
Yeah, it was just small mistakes in decision-making or positioning. Both teams playing at a very competitive level. And they're showing up. Even the XDs, they made it almost all the way to the end here on Dorado. Hopefully they'll be able to make it all the way this time.
Yeah, that's a very good term to describe what's happening. They are showing up to the plate indeed. Sometimes they call it stepping up to the plate of the competition arms race. Hopefully we're going to be spawning in Hollywood soon. We're going to check the lobby, make sure both the teams are ready. You know, it's really hard to organize online games. People need water. People need to eat. People need to go to the restroom. We don't have locker rooms like we do in pro
people
sports.
don't need to just play Overwatch? That's confusing to me.
I think only... No, you know what? I was going to say something about the Chinese and Korean players grinding, but I mean, they eat as well. We just never see them do it, so... Both teams
are ready, so we should be getting there any moment now.
On the destination to the western map, Hollywood. Are there any other locations in Overwatch that are supposed to be set in quote-unquote America? Because Hollywood is obviously the one. It seems like all of them are in...
66 is also in the US.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Route 66 is right next to my home, my new home. I live in the desert in New Mexico, and Route 66 goes through very much of New Mexico. But it's funny because they just put an interstate right next to it, so nobody uses Route 66 because you can only go 50 miles an hour. Why do that when you can go like 80 on the freeway? It does look...
How will they get their kicks?
Yeah, I know. Trust me, that little slogan is spammed so much around here. Good old famous Route 66. We are not on Route 66, though. We are on the further west side of quote-unquote America in the future in Overwatch, Blizzard's new IP in what seem to be about 2 decades, where the heroes are going to be spawning here very shortly. Guys, you guys are spending your Friday night watching the rest of the grand finals of the competitive Overwatch League Open number 8 with us. My name on the microphone is Aaron LOL, and I am joined by the man who's going to talk to you about Hollywood and these teams here for a second. His name is Arms Race.
Yeah, guys, I hope you've been enjoying the action so far. It's been absolutely fantastic. If you are, you know, get your friends, call them over here, have them come check it out. We are a amateur competitive Overwatch community, trying to keep that esports scene healthy, give everybody a place to compete with our tournaments, and we really appreciate you guys coming out. We hope you're enjoying the show. Yeah, so we are here on Hollywood. On the blue side, we do have Gecko Fox. They're going to be defending. If you've been watching with us, you're very familiar with them. On the red side, attacking, we do have the Ecks Dees, which we unfortunately didn't get to watch go along the bracket. They were on the opposite side, but we can tell by the first game alone that they definitely have the skill that makes them worthy of coming to our final here, putting up a very good fight against Gecko Fox, even though they weren't able to take this first point on Dorado, but they are hoping to take this point on Hollywood as they approach here.
So the tanks are... Yeah, they're pushing through the bank entrance. The tanks are up front. Hetror and Tylan, the Reinhardt and Zarya, both trying to apply damage. Oh, Xretzi is just cleaning up, though, and this push is over.
Flanks.
I have nothing else to say about what just happened there. I'll give you a quick recap. The tanks for the red team went in. Tracer got 2 kills, and then the tanks were by themselves, and they died.
Yeah, so... tanks serve 2 very valuable roles. One is that they can engage and be healthy enough to not die, and the other is that they have some type of ability that keeps their squishy backliners alive. But if both your tanks engage and there ends up being a tracer behind your team who can aim, all of a sudden your entire backline is dead, and that's just what happened here. Xretzi again taking out Thundercats as well. Earthshatter going to be negated and then countered with another Earthshatter on the defending side. Kill after kill comes in response. That's just unfortunate.
Holy smokes, those 2 pushes just look great. So that one wasn't as sloppy as the first one. What happened with that one, like you said, the Earthshatter was spent by Tylan. It only got 1 person. Then Desro Earthshatter got 3 people. That's kind of, you know, quote-unquote GG right there. The push is kind of over there. So far, these 2 pushes, though, have been dominant holds for Desro and crew, which is Team Gecko Fox. We have a Deadeye coming out from Spirit. This is just a zone. He's going to right-click. He's going to save it. He's going to cancel it. Not going to shoot anybody. Lots of spam, a la TF2 style. Lots of AoE damage and hit scan damage coming out. And we're looking to see an engagement from the blue team. Arms Race, take it away. We have a Transcendence on the field now. Reinhardt pin. Just as I say that, though.
Yeah, Graviton Surge picks up all of the attacking team, and then a pulse bomb from Xretzi, as well as a ton of damage coming out from the team as a whole. Gonna just wipe them off the face of the map.
I'm starting to worry about the mental health of Team Ecks Dee right now. Because being shut down 3 times when you're 1 point behind in maps, it's got to get stressful. They need to come up with some sort of push, or they need to wait until about now when they have a ton of ultimates ready to engage. We have everything being popped. The Tortoise Steel is out. The Dragon Blade is out. The Sound Barrier's out. All for the red team. McCree, Thundercats on the red team is ready with his Deadeye. Finally, about 4 ultimates have been spent on the red team side to capture point A. This is going to be a capture on point A for the red team, the Ecks Dees, but they kind of barely made that one. They had to spend a lot of resources to take it. We're going to see how they recollect in the second phase here without all of their ultimates.
Yeah, you know, Overwatch is won by a combination of skill and tactics, and we saw that the defenders, especially Xretzi, just completely outskilling the Ecks Dees on their attacks. But then, you know, when you have the tactics in your favor and you use those ultimates appropriately, you can overcome the skill and push your way through and get that capture, and that's exactly what they did here. They are making their way through the Western Studio. Spirit gonna be throwing some shurikens down with the rest of his team from the high ground. The high ground is a really great vantage point, but it does keep you from contesting the payload. Gecko Fox decide they don't like that, so they throw down the Graviton Surge and pick up a couple kills in the process. The rest of the Ecks Dees gonna start retreating towards the spawn, wait for their teammates.
Yeah,
That's
a few
pretty
things.
Resounding catch out there.
Yeah, a resounding denial there from the Gecko Foxes. I gotta point out too, Thundercats spent his McCree Deadeye and actually got nothing out of it. So they're really, really behind on ultimates right now. The blue team, the Gecko Foxes, has high ground and they have an ultimate advantage right now, which is really just gonna cause a load of hell for the red team. As we can see, the blue team has simply jumped down onto the cart and won the fight already. Transcendence being spent just to make sure that the blue team, not the Ecks Dees, but the blue team stays safe. Another resounding hold here, and we're at 2.5 minutes left for the red team to make a capture.
Yeah, you know, it seems almost counterintuitive. Why wouldn't you have somebody sitting on this payload to keep it from moving? But the reality is, if Gecko Fox can continue to get these team wipes from above without even having to be on the payload, then they don't even have to risk it. And so the Ecks Dees are really going to have to find a way to punish Gecko Fox for their positioning and force them into some place that makes them more vulnerable.
Arms race,
They
this
do try to
attack
come
pad.
around
Yeah, this
alternating
attack pad,
attack
very
paths.
weird. Take it away. We have a Dragon Blade out.
Yeah, Transcendence goes down to counteract. The Dragon Blade's coming out from both sides. Saber's going to pick up 3. And that's going to be the type of value ultimates they need if they want to keep this payload moving. Desro's by himself in the corner, getting beaten down by the tanks. Absolutely brutal. And it looks like that change in attack pack was exactly what they needed to get this checkpoint.
2 high
here.
health characters chasing down one of the support characters here. Very rough deal. If you notice though, the blue team's actually speed boosting out right now. They really want the second checkpoint held, and they're actually paying for this speed boost engagement with their life at the moment. For some reason, Desro has showed his face out here. He gets a super money Earth Shatter, but he's literally fighting 4v1 by himself right now. Whatever is happening in the Discord server or voice communication server or the blue team, somebody's voice must be shaking because they're communicating very, very poorly at the moment.
If there is an Earth Shatter in the forest and there's no one there to kill with it,
Does anybody hear it?
sound? No.
Yes, it still makes a sound.
Does it have an impact? No. It makes a sound. It has no impact. But, you know, that just goes to show Gecko Fox feeling really confident. You know, they're just trying to buy as much time as possible because they certainly think that they'll be able to hold out here. They are opting for this far back positioning in the studio. We've seen them do that before. They are very confident towards this end of Hollywood.
Winston is engaging hard on the blue team. I really like the confidence of the blue team. The Gecko Fox is holding back so passively. Desro really getting in the face of his opponents, allowing his McCree to kind of just go crazy, even though he's been Discord or. Man, the Gecko Foxes, the one time I just bashed them for communicating poorly, their communication there, I mean, that was a perfect pushback. 3 frags, make the red team run away, back to the cart with Reinhardt.
Yeah, you know, they're making very reasonable risks here, not sending people too far ahead. There goes the Graviton Surge. It's going to catch the whole team, but the barrier projector is going to keep them safe. Spirit still manages to pick up one, so Xretzi picks up another. Saber is going to deflect to stay alive, but there's just not enough team members to keep this payload going.
Arms Race, it really hurts when your team's Genji spends his Dragon Blade and then 3 frags later, your Genji is using his Swift Strike to run away from the team fight. I mean, it wasn't necessarily his fault, but the Dragon Blade there from the attacking team was just completely negated.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate timing.
Unfortunate timing for this Winston as well. Not only does he get pinned against the wall, he goes down super quick. This is another easy hold for the Gecko Foxes right now. All they really spent in it was a sound barrier. If you notice, Midnight, who I've been giving kudos to all night, Midnight is on full, very high Zarya energy right now. Once your Zarya energy gets above 35, you become a really scary DPS tank. And Midnight, along with Reinhardt, really just the tanks are screaming great success for the Gecko Foxes.
Earthshatter going to get denied by Tylan's barrier. He gets his own Earthshatter canceled as well. Tylan charges into the wall.
I'm going to say
the Transcendence afterwards. That's going to give the team the health they need to get a few kills, but the Graviton Surge is going to catch out the back line, and they're going to fall pretty succinctly.
That Graviton Surge was just completely not worth it. The biggest reason that Graviton Surge was not worth it is we only have one person at 80% ultimate for the red team. They have 15 seconds to get this payload to the final destination here. We're going to look for a heavy engagement here from the red team. It's going to come in the form... No, that's the enemy's Deadeye. That is the blue team's Deadeye zoning them out. The Winston's going to have to touch the card. We have a forced payload salsa happening, Armed Race. Oh, money from Spirit. GG being called early.
Xretzi whips out the Deadeye, and he holds on to it. Right when the Ecks Dee think that it's down and walk out, 2 of them get taken out. And then as soon as they have that numbers advantage, Spirit's more than happy to just jump in there, throw down that Death Blossom, pick up the rest of the kills.
Arms,
Really
we've talked about
play.
how, yeah, I mean, the Gecko Foxes look so good. Even being pushed back into the third phase, I feel like a lot of teams playing Overwatch this long probably feel comfortable in the third phase of most payload maps because it's usually like the most advantageous to hold defensively. There's a ton of high ground spaces to hold. There's a ton of vantage points and stuff like that. And they really held it together. I mean, there was not one single team fight that the Ecks Dees actually looked like they were ahead in the third phase of this Hollywood map. So shout out to the Gecko Foxes.
Absolutely. In the final phase, it is very good to hold, but it's way too common that teams get absolutely team wiped right at the second checkpoint. And then by the time they get to the end of the final checkpoint, they're all scattered and discombobulated and they can't mount a defense. And that's why I have to give some tactical credit to Gecko Fox as well, because they've always made that call to pull back and set up their defenses on that third point. And every single time it's resulted in them being able to stave off a third checkpoint.
You and I dabbled talking a little bit about how aggression is generally the name of the game in something like this. And I hate to be this guy. I'm going to talk about my professional experience for a minute. A lot of TF2 teams, what distincted the invite guys from the guys that weren't in invite is the invite players seem to retreat on a dime when they needed to, but they also seem to really be the most aggressive teams in the league. That's kind of what we're seeing from the Gecko Foxes, is they really pull out of the fights when they need to, and they engage with the fights when they need to. Again, I'm going to say huge shout-outs. Desro and Midnight, you guys make looking like tanks are easy to play. The engagements from these two guys are just perfect every time.
Now, talking a little bit about the Ecks Dees, I feel like what they really need to do is they need to get a pick. They need to start getting somebody dead before the engagement happens. Not going to work out this time, as kill after kill goes on the side of Gecko Fox.
6 kill.
As I'm talking about what it is they need to do, they're unable to do it, and 3 members of Gecko Fox are going to go give a hard time over at the spawn point while they lock down this capture point.
Arms Race, the word you were looking for is focus firing, and I guess you've boiled it down to the point that the Gecko Foxes know how to focus fire and are doing it usually in their team fight. The red team, the Ecks Dees, they have successful team fights as well, but they don't consistently focus fire as often. The red team, the Ecks Dees, are going to be retreating to the saloon and or the bank right now for the high ground. If they're to force an engagement, they need to force it before the enemy team gets past this catwalk here.
Yeah, they need to get one kill before the team fight breaks out so that they have a numbers advantage. Not going to opt to do that this time. Thundercats is going to take out Locke, and Saber's going to take out Midnight. That's 2 down for their team, but the Gecko Fox are not done. They start picking up a few kills of their own. Everyone's rather scattered. Desro does have Primal Rage going. That's going to keep him healthy a bit longer, and they do manage to finally wipe the team off of the payload.
Oh, unbelievable. This payload might as well have not even stopped yet. We're going to be probably in another fight or two getting to the third phase of this map here on Hollywood. We're about to the county jail point in the map, so we're about one more turn away from the next payload checkpoint. The blue team's gathered up, and I'm keeping an eye on Tracer because she's been making a lot of DPS happen. We have a forced engagement with a blue team Transcendence, which is the attacking team coming out. Winston, Reinhardt, both attacking with their Transcendence right now. The Zenyatta is uncontested. Locke has not received any damage until he just received this Earthshatter. A decent Reinhardt. Oh, that Reinhardt pin actually picks up the Zenyatta. That might change the name of the team fight. But just as I say that, Desro and Xretzi coming up on more frags. Arms, we're getting into the final phase of this map. We're about to see how much time the blue team, the Echo Foxes, have. They have 6.5 minutes to finish this payload map.
Yeah, Gecko Fox have plenty of time to play with, and the pressure is really, really on for the Ecks Dee. They have to secure this and keep them from reaching the end here, so that they can hopefully bring this final to a third game.
Yeah,
they are opting to hang a little bit farther back, but they're moving forward now. Graviton Surge collects the whole team together, but there's a barrier projector. Not going to do enough. They actually are going to pick up a majority of the kills here, and that's exactly the type of play they needed. Hopefully, they'll be able to rinse and repeat and keep that going for another 5 minutes. And it looks like they've got the mindset to do it.
Easier said than done. Another 5 3/4 minutes to go here for a whole. This is the first successful team fight that we've seen from the Ecks Dees. The Gecko Foxes are not stalling though. They are on the cart. Ultimates are ready to be traded for both teams. This Reaper is on the high ground for the defending team, and it looks like he's coming down without a Death Blossom spend. A pretty good Earthshatter comes down from Desro, catching 2 people, and an instant 2 frags from Midnight and Xretzi because of that. And we have our champions crowned. The Gecko Foxes have taken the grand finals of the competitive Overwatch League Open number 8, 2-0 over the Ecks Dees. Oh my goodness, those were really good games, even though eventually I think the Gecko Foxes kind of just played better and better by the minute. Do you agree with me, or do you think they were just outplaying everybody the whole time?
I think they really started to fall into their stride. You know, they didn't steamroll this whole event, we have to remember. They definitely lost a few team fights resoundingly. We saw them actually having to go to tiebreakers more than a few times. So, you know, it wasn't a complete stomp, but Gecko Fox definitely showing that, you know, they have a real competitive synergy going.
Yeah, Gecko Fox is looking very good in this competitive Overwatch League Open number 8. Guys, we appreciate you joining us tonight. That's our grand finals wrap up. I could encourage you to type in !Matcherino to go ahead and check out what the prize pool the players will be receiving today. All of the winning players should be receiving, after their team splits at about $20 a piece. The prize pool is around $160. We're going to get off the microphones here for you guys and maybe go back to our desk. I've been casting with Arms Race tonight. It's been a total pleasure. My name is Aaron LOL with the competitive Overwatch League. Guys, we appreciate you joining us for the Cal League Open tonight. Good night, folks.
Oh, I got all hype and still had mute problems again. I'll fix that one of these days. Sorry, stream.
One of these days, maybe. One of these days.
The game got me too hype, man. I forgot to unmute. It's totally my bad. So, here we go. Oh, man, that was such a good thing. We're just going to keep this short and simple and say, dude, just whenever you decide to go on attack and to get rid of the Reinhardt and just go Winston, Tracer, Genji, go for the throat. That's just the way it's got to be. But is this going to be the new meta that they're going to be going with? I really hope so.
Well, and we were talking about it beforehand. Is there going to be a team that can stop this hyper-aggressive playstyle that Gecko Fox is coming with? And the answer, at least tonight, is no. No, not at all.
Yeah,
Not even close.
It's so hard. If you were to have to pick an MVP inside of all of this stuff,
You can't.
all of Gecko Fox was going so strong. Midnight was so good on Zarya. Desro was good on whatever tank you wanted to play him on. The supports were just constantly on point. You just got to give it to him. I mean, I love everything that was happening inside the matches, but there was just such solid gameplay from Gecko Fox's all night.
Yeah, and clearly a Twitch chat favorite, Xretzi, on the McCree most of the night. I mean, he did a fantastic job. He had the backing up of his team. Desro was just a beast, though. I mean, Desro, Spirit, Locke, Xretzi, Midnight, and Phaze. I mean, all of them, all 6 of them, just played out of their absolute freaking minds. And the fact that they were all on the same page and that they were all moving in unison as a coordinated unit, it really showed that the emphasis and the importance of good team communication when trying to play a competitive round of Overwatch like this.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the teamwork and communication from the start, and they never let it drop. We just got to give kudos out to those guys. Such an amazing match. So this puts us at the tail end of competitive Overwatch Open for the night. I hope everybody had a lot of fun. Remember the fact that we are going to have Minutemen coming up next week. It's an open event. Everybody sign up. If you guys got teams, come and compete inside the open. We're wanting everybody to get involved. Do ! Discord if you're not already a member. Hop in. Get involved in our community, take part in our events, and remember that we also are looking for some help out here. So if you got any skills you think that can be important to esports, join in the Discord, go up to Cal News, hop in. We would love to hear from you guys.
Absolutely. Get on in here. Join, and then you can also apply to be a part of our team. I'm not sure what all positions we're looking for these days, but I know we have plenty of openings, and it's all volunteer. It's all very fun. It helps you learn all the different things that go into making an event like this. It's definitely a good thing for any resume out there, and it's also great for just getting into the industry and trying your hand at it, seeing what it's like.
And the last thank you we've got to give out today is to all you guys viewers. We appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for going in the match arena, helping supporting these teams. You guys are the best. We appreciate everything that you do for us and helping these teams improve. Thank you so much, and that's going to be it for us tonight. I'm Matchroom.
I'm Poor Source.
Good night, everybody.